Okay, we're live. We're live. This is the Luke and Shay podcast, and we got a banger show tonight. This is the Red Hot Letter edition. So, we're gonna go ahead and get started. You want to go ahead and hit the like and shares?
Like, share, and subscribe. We need all the subscriptions you can get. They're free. Also, like, because when you like, it puts us in the algorithm. So please, when you're visiting, like our channel as well. Like the content that we're sharing with you. Red hot. You said I'm saying red hot letters. That actually is what it might be
Red
a hot
Heart
letter
Letter.
tonight. I don't know. Red Heart Letter segment. So, wow, I'm interested in see what we got going on today. And I just want to welcome to the panel Tanya.
That's right.
Hello.
We do got a
And may
special
I
guest.
add, Tanya is my sister. So, special guest there on the panelist. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So,
Tanya said she's gonna bring the heat tonight. She
oh,
definitely
she's
gonna
going to
bring.
bring the heat.
We couldn't get
Okay.
the other. She's gonna
What
have
we
to get
cooking
on
up tonight?
it.
We cooking up some. We put a pot of chili, some soup. What we doing? Going to add some spices to this. All
Always in
right.
the post cabinet.
And yeah, you know what? We could use something. We could use some heat, especially here in Georgia with all this winter weather that I was told we weren't getting. Since outside is covered with a white blanket of snow that I was told we wouldn't be getting. Thank you, Luke, for that information before I moved
Yeah.
here. All
Yeah.
right,
I don't know
so
why
you
you keep
ready to get
complaining about that little bit of snow. It's a little bit of snow.
little bit of snow? It in a place where there's no shovels and no salt and no plow trucks, and you actually see people raking their snow like it's
That was
leaves.
funny. I should have took a picture of that. That was funny.
Wow.
Let me. Are we ready to get started with this letter?
Yeah.
Ready? Are we ready for it? Okay, so tonight's red heart letter, and it here it goes. So, good day, everyone. I'm desperately seeking prayers. My husband of 12 plus years confessed to me last night and this morning that he is intimately involved with another woman and has been for over a year now. They are having they're having unprotected intimacy, and they are also trying to have children together. Okay, can we just stop right there for a second? Everybody took that in, right? That first part.
Yep, I'm with you.
We all heard that. Her
Mhm.
husband of 12 years is involved with another woman for over a year now, and they're having unprotected intimacy and they're trying to make children together. Okay, so everybody heard that because I was making sure I heard it right and I read it. Okay, so it says, my heart is broken. My home is a living hell. I'm trying to keep the peace, trying to be slow to speak, quick to listen, and slow to anger. But that's hard when he is verbally abusing me and blaming me and saying all these things to hurt me. And our children are so unhappy. I've always been a faith wife, and I stuck by my husband's side through the thick and thin and forgiven him before with other issues of him being unfaithful. Now he wants me out of his life, and I'm just lost, hurt, and confused. Please pray for me.
Wow.
So that's the letter. You put it up on the screen. But yeah, so anybody need me to read that again, or did we all get that?
No, I got it.
Okay. So this person is, we're just going to call this letter desperately seeking prayers. Okay. So this person is desperately seeking some prayers, and by sending us this letter wants a discussion about that. So I mean, Anybody want to start with that? I mean, prayers is something, yes, definitely can send up prayers for this person in this situation. Husband of 12 years, and it looks like he wants to leave his marriage. And whoever the other woman is of 1 year, he's already been starting a family or trying to start a family with her.
Oh yeah. Well, that, you know, that's
That's a,
kind of rare. Go ahead, Tanya.
so that's a tricky one because I know like the word tells us that faith without works is dead. So you can put a whole lot of prayers up, but you're gonna have to put something behind that. I know like I've been married 26 years
Amen.
and um in this situation, I know one of the things that we've, always been taught as children that sometimes you have to teach people how to treat you. So she said in her letter that she had taken him back before for being unfaithful.
Yes.
So she's in essence teaching him how to treat her.
Mm.
And you can't really, you know, do I agree with what he's doing? No, because if she's not listening to the message that he's putting out, he's trying to explain to her through his actions and his words that she's already been replaced.
Mm.
At this point, he's turned into an inconvenience. So if your children are miserable and you are miserable and there's hell in your house, I guess maybe because I'm at the stage in my life where I'm chasing peace like it's my last breath. My best thing that I can tell this sister is, seek ye first.
Amen. Okay. Wow.
Seek ye first the kingdom of God. And I know he promised that your ladder will be greater. So if this
Yeah.
doesn't feel like greater, then who told you that was your forever person?
But see, I
Mm.
think it's kind of hard to focus on God when you're in such a, I guess you're in dire needs right there because the
Mhm,
way things are set up, it will be hard to focus. I know she's saying for you to pray for her, but at the same
mhm.
time, I think that will be difficult to pray for in that same situation because I guess the mind will be totally embodied with that whole situation. We're like, well, he's trying to leave, and it sounds like she's definitely connected. It sounds like she definitely bonded to him because she is putting up, but that's part of the bond. But what are we praying for? Do you want to pray for him to stay or do you want him to pray to go? I mean, you got to, that's the other side of that part right there. But yeah, so I mean, I look at it like, I don't, well, it's very rare a man leaves, and that in itself is kind of, I don't know. But like I say, because it don't sound like he was in it to begin it. So
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
don't, even
Well,
don't typically leave. I mean, they might go outside you, but they don't typically leave. And that in itself, like it sounded like he wasn't in it to begin it, and I kind of like she was holding on by a thread and hoping things work out. And I think it all
Yeah.
just came to a head. So I can understand her praying, but I imagine in that turmoil at that time right there, that would be hard to focus on God and actually stay the course with that. Because every time you think about him with somebody else or think about him leaving or him coming to pack the stuff or yeah, I imagine that house would have been in turmoil. I can see that.
I think it'd be
Yeah.
easier for her to understand that he's already left.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. I don't think he was ever in because
No,
like I said, I think like I said, that just sounded like the person got married because it sounded good. It it sounded good. And I don't think because like I said, it don't like they're putting he don't sound like he was putting the work in to make it work. So it sounded like he was just he was buying his time until he found what he was looking for.
right. And
Mm-hmm.
I think
So
it also depends
And
upon when he was unfaithful first. Was it
yeah.
prior to the matrimony or was it after?
And
yeah,
it
and
says that they
that's a
have
good question.
children. It says that they have children, so we don't know were the children a factor before the marriage
Mhm.
because he could have just stayed because of that, because it doesn't sound like like you said, Luke, it didn't sound like he was in it from the beginning. And for her to preference that she's always been a faithful, I believe she meant to say faithful because she said faith wife. She's been a faithful wife. You know, from what I'm gathering, she's saying that she's basically doing what she needs to do as a wife. So if he has his feet out the door, because like Tanya said, it doesn't even sound like he's already mentally checked out. You know, I don't know
But
if he's looking for advice on how to reel him back in, because he's already out the door. He confessed to her that he's having unprotected intimacy with another woman over a year. That's a whole nother relationship, and they're starting a family together. Now
well, like I said,
that's
I would love to have that conversation with him to see what was really going. Because it's always two sides to every story. So I would like to see what he was saying. I mean, just to see where his head is at in the midst of that. That would be a excellent conversation to see what actually transpired and what was she really. Because like I said, if it was already infidelity to begin with, and he didn't leave on that time, why leave this time? What is it that he leaving for it on this time? Because he
maybe
already had done
because
it before.
maybe because he found somebody that he could leave with. And it sounds like, I mean, if you're stepping outside of your marriage to begin with, you're already showing how important your marriage is to you. And I get it. Give grace. I mean, we all sin, and we all come short of the glory of God. But how many times, and like Tanya said, her actions, and it's this was a hard one, because we are supposed to be the help. We are supposed to be,
Yeah,
we have that whole thing that everybody on the internet is saying, women aren't being like the women from back in the 50s and 60s. But then you have stories like this where somebody seems to be okay, and where it at what cost is her peace, because it seems like, okay, I've dealt with this unfaithfulness before. He's had an infidelity before, and it sounds like she had grace and forgiveness, and yet he turned around and do this again. So it sounds like, okay, this is a good woman, if I'm just going to assume, but yet this man over here, he's just out here doing his own thing, like he didn't even take any vows before God. So yeah, this is a hard one.
I think also
that's
when
it. But go ahead.
when you're being unfaithful, it's not like oops, of a mistake, something happened. There's a whole lot of prior planning that goes into any type of relationship, whether it starts online, whether it starts on a job, whether it starts at the grocery store, wherever it starts. There's a whole lot of prior planning that goes into all of that. And in that
Yes.
planning, as humans, you automatically think about your behavior, you think about consequences, you think about impact on your wife, you think about impact on your children, you think about impact on your parents if they're still here. I mean, you're thinking about all of these things, and in spite of all of the things you considered, you were like, oh, well, I'm going to go do what I want to do. So my thing is, that little thing needs to sing, we're a little, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by his toe, if he holler, let him go,
Mm-hmm.
eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I mean, his behavior is screaming.
Mm.
So no matter how much you desire, there's something that you desire that may hurt you. And sometimes holding on to things that hurts you even more. So she's going to grieve either way, whether she stays in that toxic relationship, she's going to be grieving. If she gets out of that toxic relationship, she's going to grieve the relationship she wished she had. She's going to grieve the relationship that she lost, and even the one that she had at some point. She's going to grieve all of that anyway.
But see, like
Yeah.
I said, I still say you still got to know that other side, because there's always three sides. So I wonder how he got there to the point where, like I said, being that he was unfaithful in the beginning, but how did he get to a point to where he wanted to leave? What was it what was the straw that broke the camel's back that said he wanted to leave? Because it sounded like I said, it sounded like she was doing her part. And it just, being that you don't hear both sides of the story,
Mm-hmm.
and just understanding what he might have been going through, or what it is with him. Because we only hear one side of that story. So, but like I say, men don't tend to leave. They might go outside, but they don't tend to leave. Usually in them cases like that, the man cheat and then the woman leaves. But I ain't never seen a man cheat and
Where?
then cheat and then leave.
Okay,
That
so
pattern,
not I where I mean, because you said usually the man doesn't leave, but in every
no, he don't.
situation, in a lot of households, the man is not there, and I'm just saying, I'm trying to see where do you get that from, like where the man doesn't
And
leave.
marriage, 80% of marriages are initiated by the woman. Men don't tend to leave. That's what we're saying. They don't tend to leave. They might
Okay,
cheat, but they don't leave. They might go have some extra, but they don't. They tend to want to stay. Like
isn't
have you
I?
ever seen any type of affair you see, the man will go outside, but he don't generally leaves. He don't leave where he come home. Where he at. He don't do that. Generally, what you're gonna get is the man cheats, and then the woman wants to leave. And see, even after he cheated, she still didn't want to leave. So it was a part of the game for her at this point in time. But that's why I said I would like to know the other side of the story to see what was going on with him. Because
Yeah,
like I said, he was being that. I mean, because we can paint the picture and make him the bad guy anyway. Because she's saying he cheated twice. But if I don't know, if he don't have a story to tell and we don't hear his story, his side of the story, we can only take one side of it and we can go and paint him as the bad person. Maybe, like I said, I don't know what he was going through or what he went through prior to that. We only know what
um,
she told us now.
yeah.
But
So
like I said,
I
go
would
ahead.
call. I know you're saying. I'm sorry, Tanya. Did I cut you off?
No, go ahead.
No,
I'll jump in after you.
So I hear what you're saying, and I received what you're saying. So, and you're saying, okay, generally we want to paint this guy, the bad guy
it's,
in this
it's easy to
situation.
paint him the bad guy.
It's
Go
easy
ahead.
to paint a bad guy from reading her letter, right?
Hmm.
And how she gracefully spoke in her time of hurt right now. She didn't bash him. It sounds like she was just speaking truth. Hey, 12 years, a year with the woman. And, she even went on to say, look, my children are hurting over this. And not only
Hmm.
that, but, this is not the first time he's done this. He is the bad guy in
Yeah.
this. I'm going to just say that because why do we need to hear two sides of the story? Your children are hurting. Okay, so this is the thing.
Because
When I
in
and
because in
the
America
reason
there's
why I
two
say the
sides to
bad,
every
hold
story.
on, I have to get my point across real quick. So when I say the bad guy in this, I'm saying when you cross over, like Tanya said, you had time to think about this. You
That's
had
true.
time to think
Yeah, I
about your
agree.
children. You had time to think about your household. And I hear you saying usually the man doesn't leave. But when you go, like I said last night during our podcast, you don't just, when I go down the street, if there's a pothole and I might not see it, yeah, I'm going to trip. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to look out for it the next time I come back down the road. But when a man sits here and when men sit here and they act like, oops, I fell in the vagina, that just doesn't happen. That's something that you
But
premeditated. You talked at work. You got to know each other. You knew you had your wife at home. You knew you had your children. You knew that you had this union and you didn't forget that you
let me.
married this woman. So you are the
Mhm.
bad guy because you stepped outside of your marriage.
But see, there's two sides to every story. Go ahead, Tanya. It's on you now.
I don't think there's two sides that even need to be considered because just based on what he said to her, what he admitted to, that he's trying, he's being
But that's
unfaithful. And he's actively trying to, start a family with somebody else. I don't know
mhm.
what else you need to consider. It wouldn't make a difference to me what the other
But see, that's
situation.
still
Hold on, just real
that's
quick.
still
It doesn't really matter what he's going through, what she's going through. The fact of the matter is, when you take those vows and you mean those vows, whatever you're going
mhm.
through, go seek your mate for whatever that is you need. Like, I'm not sure how you wind up over a whole year. You know how much planning that was, and she doesn't find out until, you know, a year into this. No,
Yeah.
I don't think there's two sides that really need to be even looked at that point because I don't think it's a matter of sides. I think it's a matter of at what point is this sister going to save herself?
But see, I was saying, and welcome to the cast, Sharonda. Sharonda, there's Tanya. She'll
Hey.
stay up at the top here. But no, what I'm saying is that's still all coming from her. You
Hmm.
didn't hear his voice at all. So it's like I could pay. How many times men done went into a bad relationship, going into cheating, and tell you
Hmm.
their wife is doing terrible? See, but if you don't talk to the wife, you're gonna be a little bit lenient because to think that's the truth. Well, you know what? She's not hanging out with me. She don't do nothing for me. She don't cook. She don't clean. She could be doing all of this because you only hearing my side of the story. See, and I can be as bad as I want it because she don't have a voice. That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
She could
So
be nasty and not clean and not take good care of her kids. Her cooking could be trash and all of that, but that still doesn't give him the room to do all of that.
see, that's what we're saying. I don't know what his story is. How he
But
came to this right here.
Hold on a second.
How that came
it's a
So
about.
hold
scenario.
on. Hold that thought 1 second. We have a comment in the chat, but before we get to the comment in the chat, welcome again, Sharonda, and thank you. But can we fill her in on the letter? I'm going to read the letter for you because that way I can
Oh
get you
yeah.
caught up. You
Okay.
didn't miss much. We're just discussing it. So I'm going to read it real quick. So the letter states, okay, so good day, everyone. I'm desperately seeking prayers. My husband of 12 plus years confessed to me last night and this morning that he has been intimately involved with another woman and has been with her for over a year now. They have been having unprotected intimacy as they're also trying to have children together. You
Mm.
got that part, right? Okay, because there's more. It says, my heart is broken. My home is a living hell, and I'm trying to keep the peace, trying to be slow to speak, quick to listen, and slow to anger. But that's hard when he is verbally abusing me and blaming me and saying all these things to hurt me. And our children are unhappy. Oh, I'm sorry. Our child is unhappy. I've always been a faithful wife, and I stuck by my husband through thick and thin and forgiven him before for being unfaithful. Now he wants me out of his life, and I'm just lost, hurt, and confused. Please pray for me. So
Mm.
that's our red heart letter.
Ooh, that's a lot.
Yes.
Right.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Wow. First of all, I don't know what you all have said so far, but what I would say is kudos to her for forgiving him the first time. But if he came to her and he shared, this is what's going on, and I don't want you in my life, um, you know, prayers need to be had, but have they sought counsel on any of it? I mean, do we know that part?
No,
No.
she didn't give us that. She didn't give us that, and yeah, I don't know from just hearing just listening to what she's saying about she's going through verbal abuse now, and he's
Hmm.
blaming her for it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I would probably say probably not. They
Okay.
probably didn't try to seek any help because if he's already out the door mentally, it seems like he's already starting a family. I
Yeah.
doubt he's going to a therapist to tell all that.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess what I'm
But
trying to say, or what I'm really wondering is, if he's done it before and he's doing it now, and they're trying to have children while he's still married, what is really the root? What's really going on? And
yeah.
and she's heartbroken. There's a lot of questions on the back end I would want to know. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that sounds like a Tyler Perry movie.
It probably is.
Stop.
I
It
also think that
does.
honesty plays a big part here because I think sometimes as women, we're not always honest with ourselves. And
Mm,
that puts us in a very vulnerable and dangerous position because it causes you to sit in a space where you have to put the key to your happiness in someone else's pocket. And that,
Mm.
mm. Yeah, yeah,
Well, that
yeah,
happens sometimes.
yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
see,
You
I'm
know,
here now. Go ahead.
no, please.
Oh no, I was just gonna say we got an all Jersey cast. Y'all all from Jersey, and I'm from Connecticut. representing that.
Oh, okay.
What's up, Jersey
Jersey,
girls? Let's
Jersey
make it
girls in the
happen.
All
house.
Jersey.
Let's do it.
Jersey girls in the house. I'll forever be a Jersey girl, even though I recently moved to Georgia. But I brought the Jersey weather with me with all this
Yes, you
snow.
Where
did.
do
Yes,
you
you
think
did.
Sharonda at? Where you think
I'm in
Sharonda
Georgia
at?
too.
Oh, you're in Georgia
There you
too?
go.
I
Oh,
am.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Decatur where
Yeah,
everything's
Georgia as
greater. At
well.
least that's what they say.
So when you coming, Tanya? When you gonna move down here, Tanya? You got to come on
Oh
down.
no, I'm going to stay at Jersey, girl. I need somebody to.
What part of Jersey? What
I'm
part of
in
Jersey?
Vineland.
Say it again.
What part
I'm
of, you
in
said what part
Vineland.
of Jersey?
I'm in Vineland, New Jersey.
We grew up in South Jersey, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Oh, I'm
was
sorry,
in North.
Sharonda. That's my sister Tanya. So yeah, and
Oh,
I remember
okay.
you were in the chat last
I
night,
was.
right?
Y'all listen,
Okay.
y'all had me rolling yesterday. I loved all of it. It was awesome. But
So
to the
I
lady's
didn't like
point, I
it.
like what you
I didn't
said.
like none of it.
of course not, Luke, because you were, you always gotta go hard for the men, so that's okay.
Yep.
When you get married,
So who should I
you
go?
want to honor
Who
your
would I
vows,
go
right?
hard for? If I'm gonna go hard for anybody.
So
What?
I think that the lady
What's
that's
the
honoring her vows by saying, "Hey, you cheated once, I'm going to forgive you." But I think to Tanya's point, the fact at that point she might have known that this was an internal thing that he was not going to overcome, and I, it's rough, especially if you're coming from like a Christian perspective. But I don't believe God is about pain. I don't believe God is about deceit. I don't think God is about, like causing harm. Because right now, let's just say he does succeed and he has children outside of his marriage. Now you have even more to explain to the child who is inside and the child that's outside. And you cannot tell me that that is a God thing. So they may just be, they may
But
just need
can
to call it.
yeah, but can you see a man coming home and telling you, "Look, I'm having sex outside the marriage, and I'm going to have children with a woman"? See, I just can't see that, and that because at this point in time, I would have been told you I'm out anyway. So I mean, I'm gonna try to. It could be, well, he probably asked for divorce, and she said no. Oh, well, no, we don't need divorce. We're gonna work it out. And so he said, well, I got no other choice. Okay, let's go outside then. I'll just go ahead and start moving forward. Because she could also put him in a position where she can say no to the divorce. Because I just don't see a man going home to his wife and telling, well, look here, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and start having sex with this lady unprotected, and I'm gonna try to, have a couple of kids with him. I don't see that discussion being where, because that would tell me as a person, a woman come home and told me that, okay, there's no more fight. I'm done. It's time to move on. That's how that worked, because she done told you what she's gonna do. So why would I keep sitting here? I wouldn't even ask you to pray for me. I'll be like, okay, I need to go get me another place.
And see,
So I'm gonna be out.
and so when
Go
you finish
ahead.
that, I want to touch on that. So just to piggyback off of what you said, so just taking that in, what I'm hearing you say is you don't see how somebody could come home, a man, and particularly a man coming home and telling his wife X, Y, and Z. We don't have the backstory to it and everything. Well, all we are left to do is to assume what might have been. But the thing about it is the fact that there's worse stuff happening in marriages today. Okay. And just it kind of goes with the story yesterday. Okay, why does a woman stay when a man is doing all this or he's not putting a ring or whatever? This woman's in a marriage. That sounds like to me she took her vows seriously. Now this person might
And that's
not have, but then you have to go back to the beginning of the story and say, were they even equally yoked? You didn't just get in this marriage and start doing this. That was your character. You came into the marriage like that didn't just start. And I don't believe that. Okay, yes, there's things that happen in a marriage, but when you're riding hard for your mate, when you actually love your mate, you're going to try to work that out. You're not going to step outside of that person, because I believe when people step outside of their wife, and I know men will say, well, I could go sleep with this woman, but I still love my wife.
No,
If
you
you know something like that's going to hurt your wife, you wouldn't even think twice about doing it. I don't consider that love. I feel like men and women are loving
I
each
think
other
you, I
differently.
think you
You
reading,
know,
I think you reading too much into that. Cause
how,
see, by that same token, you're reading too much into that.
from
You
your
could go home and
comments,
tell that
though.
woman, as a man, I could go home and tell that woman I want to do this, and she could actually, unalive me right then and there.
That too.
I'm not going to sleep in the house with that woman. See, no, that's what I'm saying. No, it's not. It's too many things. There's too many variables here, because, like I said, it will be a fearful thing. Okay, because she's scorned, and again, she could do a lot of things to you in your sleep, in your food. There's a whole bunch of stuff she could do to you. I'm not going home and telling no woman I'm about to do all this dirty stuff to her and stay with her. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I don't see that happening. I
yeah,
just
I
don't
don't
see that happening.
understand how he's under the
That's not
same roof.
that wouldn't even
But
be smart on his
Oh, I
part.
disagree. I disagree. I do see it happening because it happened already. This is not the first time he stepped out on her, and she allowed him to walk right back into her life.
But see,
So I do see it happening. It happened already.
he
hmm
stepped out. But to come back and tell somebody what your plan is and what you're doing, that's entirely different. How you gonna go to sleep in that house in peace?
Well,
Because
see,
he's
here's
been
Because
the
at this point
he's
in
been
time,
no,
at
but
this
he's been
point in
sleeping.
time, she's operating off of feelings.
No, but he
And
had
then,
already cheated on her, so he'd been
uh,
sleeping and eating just fine.
And he
but
knows how
again,
she is. He would know her
Exactly.
personality. He would know her
but
character.
no, but
She might
she,
be quiet. She
that
might have been the
that's so
submissive wife
scary.
that he knows. And sometimes, like I said, when you stay and you're riding hard, the woman that most of you men are saying you desire today, when you have that woman, okay, at what
That
cost
has
is her
nothing.
peace?
That
Because
has
she's
nothing to
riding
do
hard
with
for
that.
you. And then sometimes she's taken advantage of because she's riding hard for you. You
Mhm.
know, she could have been doing everything that God told her to do in her marriage. And he could have took advantage of that, knowing that she wasn't going to step out of
You
line
know.
with God. Okay.
But
So,
okay, different way I judge. Everybody has a breaking point. See, you corner a cat, he'll kill. Period. That's how it is.
live you.
You put anybody in that position, they will do something to you. If I'm home, like I said, type of stuff in scary movies, but you see Jill got on the air and she's sitting up there, the husband sitting by. This sounds so Tyler Perry. So that's what I'm saying, because this don't happen in real life.
Yes, it
My mother is
does.
from
I was gonna
Georgia. That
say
is
you're
not
you're
Oh,
talking
to
yes,
my
it
mother.
about
does.
you're talking about a reasonable man. You're saying a
Yeah.
reasonable man won't come home and tell a woman what he's doing. A reasonable man won't share what he has done and about to do with the children. But
Yeah.
obviously, he's not very reasonable
Not
because
at
he
all.
had
Yeah.
a year worth
But
of an
that's what I'm. But
affair and then just said, you know what? I'm tired of keeping it from you. I'm tired of playing the game. Let me tell you what is really going on because now I've been fancy free. Let me be even more free because maybe he's getting pressure from the other lady he's trying to have babies with. So this man is
Yeah.
not coming from a common sense, reasonable, or a heartfelt place. He's coming from a very selfish, self-serving place. That's why he can come in and not worry about his life because he's not even thinking reasonably or
okay,
wholeheartedly.
And he might not be
I want
grounded
to
in
pose that.
God. He might not be a
I'm gonna
godly
pose that. I'm
man.
gonna
We
pose
don't
that
know
question.
what kind of man this
I'm gonna
is.
pose that question to all y'all. Y'all husband come home and tell you what he just told you. Y'all ain't doing nothing.
You mean
I
like
have.
harming him? You
No,
mean to
because that's
harm
going
him?
No,
like
you whatever you choose to do. You ain't gotta harm him, but whatever you choose to do, what are you doing? Your husband come home and say he's been intimate with another woman and he's planning on having kids. What's the first thing you're doing?
Can I tell you from the beginning, the first time he cheated, if we didn't get counsel and a
No, no, no.
very seriously thing,
We
I'm already
over it.
gone. So
That
we
already
won't even
happened.
have this
He come
conversation.
home
I'm
now.
done.
That's what I'm saying. But you got to look at it. You come home now. He done already done this, and he come home now and tell you what he told that woman. What's the first thing you're doing?
first thing I'm doing in this situation, if I was in this woman's shoes, is understand that that man did not come home. Home is not with you anymore.
No.
So
Mm,
he's very see. That's the thing. Sometimes people try to play like they're stupid, but
mm.
this man is very calculated. Okay, because he's a pre-planner. He doesn't do things on a whim. He's been planning that he has a whole nother family somewhere else. So he's very calculated, but he's not man enough to tell that woman, I'm leaving you. So he's telling her this hurtful stuff to her face to put her in a position to say,
Yep.
oh, so he can tell her family and his family, oh, she left me, so I moved on.
Yeah.
See,
You think
sometimes
that's
you
what
got
it
to
is?
step. Yeah, I know that's what it is. Sometimes you got to step back
Mhm.
and look beyond what people are showing you, because his behavior, I work with with teenagers who have a lot of different challenges that they're dealing with. And one of the things that I always say
Mm.
is to my staff is, any behavior you see is a symptom of something else. Sort of like if you have a cold and you have a runny nose and a cough, behavior is a symptom of something else. And like you were saying, Luke, you don't know what else is going on. Even if you painted this woman as the worst woman as far as taking care of a house, I mean, she's the nastiest house that you've ever seen, and she doesn't take any good care of her kids. And she doesn't. The man come home, he has to cook her the meal, like all kind of stuff, whatever it is. Even in the worst case scenario, this man does not. That's not his home anymore. He just come there, change his clothes, let somebody else wash him, or whatever the case is. He's no longer home. He's gone. And at that point, if I was in this woman's shoes, I would have to start being honest with myself, because that's what I was saying before. Like, honesty plays a huge part. And I think, and when we as women are not honest with ourselves, we allow things to happen in our lives, and we can't run back and say, "Oh my gosh, this is happening to me." If you're constantly giving people the pen to write your story, no, like, take your pen, stick it in your pocket, and stop allowing people to put you in situations that you need to heal from. If somebody
Yeah.
But
truly,
would you stay? Would you stay and be talking about praying for it?
I have
see, at
a
that point,
Would
he
you
would be
stay?
leaving.
Would you? Because
If
Right.
that's my house, he would be leaving,
Mhm. Right.
so
because if he can go to his other house. He's got some place to go.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's not my concern. That
that's
man
what I
does
just said.
no longer belong. That woman, that man no longer belongs to that woman. That's somebody else's man. At that point, he's resorted to her being a side chick, because
yes,
he's trying to have a whole family with this lady. Like,
yes,
just
true.
understand you're going to hurt either way. If you stay in that relationship, every time his phone ring or it buzz, she gonna look at that phone,
Mhm.
and he looks at his phone, and her whole nervous system gonna be like, is it that woman or is it another woman? It's gonna be somebody if it's not the same woman. So at
Yeah,
that point, like, preserve your peace, take care of your children, because kids notice and pick up on all of that. And even if she can't make decisions for herself, do it for your kids.
Absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely.
So I just want to touch on that too, because Luke, just to get back to what you said, you can't see a man coming home and telling a woman that and still being under the same roof. So I have an actual true story,
I'm in
because
the
I'm
movie.
Shay filled with stories. Okay, so I have something similar to that in a long-term relationship that I had. We talked about the relationships last night where I stayed long term, and you always ask, "Oh, why'd you stay?" Okay, when you have kids involved, I don't know how a man looks at it, or some women might look at it like, I'm going to just go. Okay. My mindset was the kids first, but then I had to realize at what piece are they having, because if you're seeing so again, my relationship, my second long-term relationship, I would say, it might have been 5 years into the relationship. And mind you, we were together for 10 years. Okay. And so my whole thing, like I said, my upbringing, and my sister can vouch for that. I saw my mother and father together for they were what you would call that the way they portrayed their marriage in front of us. They were what a marriage is supposed to look like. She was submissive. He was the head of the household. She didn't try to overstep his role, nothing like that. So I wanted a husband. I wanted a family. Okay. And again, doing it God's way. So not to get into last night's thing, but after the years that I did, we said we wasted those years last night. So the years that I was with them, I would say 5 years into our relationship, and we ended up having a child together and everything. And I remember, like, because we were always, together. Everything we did was together. Then it was like a sudden thing where I guess one of his friends got divorced. So then, oh, I want to hang out with him because he needs some cheering up. Okay, that's innocent. But then it turned into an all the time thing. There was a change in character, not coming home. Conversations were short between us. There was a distance in our house. And I remember one day asking him, I'm like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, I said, hey, I have a birthday party to take, or kids too, whatever. No, you go ahead by yourself. Now, before that would be something we do together as a family. There was a change. I said, do you love me? Because I feel like you don't want to talk to me or nothing. And he grabbed me by my arms. He said, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. He said, how about, I have a question. Can I stay here and still do my thing?
Mm.
Is what he said to me.
Mm.
He looked me in my eyes, straight face. It was like when I looked in his eyes, there was a difference. And for him to look at me and say, can I still stay here and do my thing? I said, do your thing. So then that was him telling me, hey, I've been out here. What you thought I was doing, that's what I was doing. And so that's how that was told to me. So, you know, he went, you have to go. He went and got his place. You know, he got his place and realized at that time, okay, this woman has stayed here. She hasn't gone nowhere, you know, and he ended up, after some time, realizing the grass wasn't greener, and he came back home, okay, within that 10 years that we were together. But yes, men do things, Luke. There's not a automatic thing that men, there's not a catalog that all men come with the same, you know, character traits into a relationship. You're going to get some of this and some of that. We don't know if this man was a godly man, and we don't know. But, you know, yes, people do come home and say those things. They will take advantage of that submissive woman, that woman that's riding for him. He'll step outside of her. He'll go mess with the fast chick up the street, you know, but this guy's leaving his wife for, you know, so this is a whole different thing. So yes, I just wanted to share that because you think people don't come home and
what
stay
I'm
under the
saying,
same roof with people.
she has way too much information on what this man is going to do, and too much. And like I said, that's way too much information on what that man plans to do. And with that Tyler Perry movie, that's Tyler Perry type stuff, and that's where I have an issue.
Well, even Tyler
Like
Perry's movies are based off of life. You know what I'm saying? So it's an imitation of
no,
life.
they're
He's
not.
getting material off of things that happen, and then he
They're
does the
not. Don't go there,
comical and
because
the
that
spiritual
one
part with
scene.
it.
Hold on. That one scene where Jill Scott is on that airplane. I never watched the Tyler Perry movie. I watched a part of one. Jill Scott is sitting on an airplane next to a white man, and he says she's too big. Her husband is sitting up front next to his girlfriend. They're going to a couple's retreat. That's so unrealistic. Ain't no man gonna do that. Because
That's
like I
not
said, that was my
unrealistic.
But
mother,
he's
everybody getting off the plane. This is
That's
he
how
is
that
happened.
not
works.
now a billionaire because it's
That's not
unrelatable. He's not. It's because it is.
This
He's
really
he's
happens in
in.
real
It's
life.
not.
Yeah, he's who he is today
It
because it's
doesn't happen in
relatable.
real life.
It happens.
Okay.
It happens. My
It
friend
does.
had a family that lived right next door to her, right? My friend had a family that lived right next door to her. And I used to visit her, and I would see two men come out the house and then just one lady, you know, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe that's his brother or something like that. So my friend ended up telling me, because she used to wave to them, hey, how you doing, girl? You know. So then she told me one day, she said, oh, this is something. She said, you see that family right there? I was like, yeah, I'm thinking they're brothers, and that's the wife of one of them. She said, yeah, well, that one right there, he's the husband, and then that's the wife's boyfriend. They all live together. She didn't, instead of dealing with a divorce, the wife just started dating another guy. He moves
Wow,
in, and the husband, they all just go out grocery shopping together. And some people do things
wow,
that you can't even wrap your mind around.
that's
So to
crazy.
say that that doesn't happen, there's crazy stuff that happens, Luke. You might not know everything that people do. People do some crazy stuff.
But see, that's what we talk about. See, we deal with people doing with crazy stuff. And the other side of that, again, ain't no man going home telling no woman that full plan and laying down with her or laying down
I just
anywhere
think
by
Well,
her.
that
he's
you
not laying
can't,
down with
I think
her
that you can't
at
accept that
all.
it's a man. I think if it was turned the
Yes,
opposite way,
you did
I
that
think
already,
you would
Shantae. You
be
missed it.
more accepting that it was a woman.
Shantae, Luke already did that. You missed it. Remember back when he said if the woman came home and told him that she was somewhere trying to make a family with somebody, he'd be done with her.
He'd be
Right,
done.
She didn't need a whole backstory and all this kind of stuff when it came to a woman doing that to a man.
right.
But the man got to be two sides of the story. All this
We
now.
got to know what his mindset
What
was
his
when he
No,
mindset?
decided to step
I
outside
was
of his
only
wife.
I was only answering to the side of what she told. So my side of the story didn't matter in that because only one side of the story was told. If I'm telling you me that, oh yeah, I'm having sex with Jim and I'm planning on having kids with him. Okay, there's no more for me to say. That's just the bottom line. I'm out. There's nothing more. What am I going to do? Sit here and wait? See, that's the only other alternative. So at this point in time, she just told you ship is over.
Yeah.
At this point in time, you either stay here, you can cry, or you can continue praying. But at this point in time, as a man, I'm out because there's no more to be done. She done decided what she's gonna do. So that's why I said in this whole thing. You said
I don't think she should stay. I don't think she should not pray either, because her heart is still broken.
She needs to
Because
pray.
obviously she's invested into this man.
Again, but what I'm saying,
so
as
her
a
heart is
man,
broken.
I'm moving on. That's why I asked you, if this situation happened to you, are you gonna sit there and let this man tell you all this stuff and not do nothing? Because he's telling you the relationship is over.
It's a wrap for me. It's a wrap for me.
Ended the relationship right there. That's
the
end of it right
relationship
there.
ended before that, and she knew that relationship.
No more and he already done to you.
Like
right,
I'm saying, the first time he
over, I'm out.
And see,
she knew her relationship ended prior when he first cheated.
Ended.
She knew that relationship was done.
There was no counsel. They didn't.
He was not ready to let him go,
and
he was just playing the role. My thing is, it was done already. Him coming home and just telling her, it's not like he didn't come tell her all his plans. He was just telling her, like, this is what I'm up to, because he felt so emboldened from her acceptance in the first place that he just felt like he felt comfortable to come and tell her. It wasn't something crazy for him. It was something like maybe she'll agree with it. I mean, you have a whole bunch of people that get down with polygamy. It's like, where do you think that starts? It starts off with a conversation somewhere.
Right.
Now y'all taking it to another person. I'm just saying, if that woman came home and told you she's doing this, this, and this, there's no more I could do. So at this point in time, this relationship is over. Whether I'm gonna be hurt or whatever, but I'm moving on, because see, there's nothing at this point in time. I'm factoring the cheating already in. Okay, she already had sex with another already. Now she's gonna tell me what she's doing. Okay, that's over. There's no more here we can do. With the letter, I wouldn't even wrote the letter, because see, I'm already done packed up my stuff. I'm gone.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Whatever,
you're saying that she shouldn't even ask for prayer because it's done. But listen, prayer is not to keep the relationship together.
He can't do no more to you than he already done. The only thing else he can do to you is rub your face in.
Yeah, I think that the prayer is for her own mental.
Yeah,
you know,
she said my heart is broken
now of being hurt.
I'm not taking up the prayer, but I'm saying that relationship is done. If he done told you all of that, all you can do is
all
move
agree
on.
with that. But even though the relationship is done, she's hurting. Even though the relationship is done, and that prayer is not to.
I'm not going to.
I'm saying the prayer is not necessarily to fix anything outside of her heart and to fix her children. Like, if I need to pray for her, I'm going to pray for strength. I'm going to pray for peace. I'm going to pray for guidance as she moves on and forward, because sometimes you get so stuck looking back you can't move forward. And I think that this is a clear situation. If she keeps looking back on what he did and all this kind of stuff, she can't move forward. If he stays and she stays, she's going to be stuck looking backward, because she's never trusting that man again. She didn't trust him in the first place after the first time. Let me ask you
a question. Why did she write the letter?
Because she's hurting.
She's hurting. She says she's hurt and confused.
Yeah.
She's hurt and confused, so she's asking for prayer so she can hold it together. And my question would be, when is it enough? So I'm asking that, like, when is it time to throw in the towel? Because this is not the first time that this happened. So, and I don't know, because we're dropping things from, I'm assuming that we're familiar with the Bible here. So when we think about that, and we are taught to give grace, and we are taught to, I don't know if they went to seek counsel for this, or, got any help with this the first time this happened, or how many other times it happened before. So
I think that's irrelevant. I think that at this point that's irrelevant, because see,
I'm only saying,
how they used to say in church, at the end of church they say all minds closed. It's time to move on. All minds are closed. We done made
but
up
they
our
also
decision.
don't give you a chance to answer. either.
But
They asked the
we also
question,
know, because people were quick to throw the scripture out, that God hates divorce. So some people are stuck in
God
that
does hate
mindset
divorce.
that
That's not
since
the issue.
God hates
But at,
divorce, I
but
can't,
at that
you
point in
know, what
time,
am I
that
to
relationship
do?
is over.
But he also says if there's sexual immorality, okay, he does know that some things are going to happen that you might, if you can't handle it, okay, if you can't handle what is happening in your marriage, because that person, they became a union with you,
Let me
that
let
marriage
me
bed,
ask
it
y'all
says
one
leave
question.
your mother and
What
father's
else
house
did
and
this
cleave to
man
your
do to
wife.
her?
When that person's not following that, though, you know, but you do have some people that are trying, they feel like they're walking in you
But
know, they're walking in
what
the straight
else?
path, and they don't
What
want to
else
mess
could
that
that
up.
man? What else could that man do to her?
He couldn't do anything, but it sounds like she wanted to, she probably would have still stayed
So
because she's
that's what I'm saying.
confused.
If I ran track. Once the 100 meters over, once that first guy crossed the line, the race is over. That's
I have
it.
a question. Okay,
You
so
can't
you're
do no
saying
more.
the first time
The game is
somebody
done.
cheats in a, so
Game
you're
over.
saying the first time somebody cheats in a marriage, somebody should leave. That's what you're saying.
No, that's not what I said. I
But
said when a man or woman come home and tell you what they're going to do now,
okay.
the race is over. The game is over. See, all you can do now is go into the locker room. The game is over.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not writing you a letter because he done told me the game is over. That's the clock sounding off. He already done cheated, and now he telling me he about to get with this woman and have kids with this woman.
Yeah,
My game
yeah.
is over. There's no more I can do. You're right. You can only pray. Well, you can pray for me, but outside of that, that's telling me this is already over. Because there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing he can do to me. The only thing else he could do to me is bring the woman into the house with me and put her in the bed with me. That would be the next straw. So at this point in time, I'm not going to wait for that. I'm out. That's what I'm saying. There's no
Yeah.
more he could do here.
How
Yeah,
much is
And
there's,
so
I
enough?
agree. I
I
agree.
think it's different because discernment that's gonna come from God is gonna tell you how much is enough. You see what I'm saying? Like with this gentleman, excuse me, with this guy, and she's trying to hold on to her vows. It may have been out, and I'm a Christian, and I really do love God, but I believe that it could have been more religiosity than like Tanya was talking about honesty. So there's a discernment. Some people cheat because they can't control their bowel, like they can't control the lust that may be inside them. Some are unhappy and it can be fixed. Some really just lost it one day because maybe they were inebriated. But this man is selfish. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? That's a character trait that he and the father has to get out. That's nothing
Yeah,
she can do. So
true.
if it's like, baby, I was unhappy and I didn't know how to communicate that. And so I went out, but I am seriously sorry. So I'm willing to get counsel. I'm willing to pray with you. I'm willing to work this thing out and we work it out for real. I think the discernment will be, is he sincere in his apology or her apology? And then you go. But if it's, yeah, I did it, I'll never do it again, but I'm still going out and I'm still going out and I'm still going out to the point where a year could go by and now you're talking to another woman about having kids. That is an
Mm.
internal character trait you have nothing to do with. And that is something he has to deal with. And that's when I think the game is over. I'm done because you're done.
Yeah.
There's
that's
nothing
what I'm saying.
there.
There's no more he could do. So that's
Yep.
what I'm saying. So if a woman gave me that same thing, yeah, I'm out. As a matter of fact, I'm not writing a letter because, see, I don't need for you to pray for this because by me writing the letter, it sounds like I'm getting you try to pray for this. You can pray for me, but I ain't praying for this because she gone. That
I
is
think
over.
also, I think she also may have written a letter because she just wanted to hear perspective. Because
Mm.
sometimes I know, like, I tend to ask a lot
Somebody's
of
gonna tell
questions.
her to stay.
Some people may tell
Somebody
her to
go,
stay.
hey, you know what? Hold
Yeah,
on
they
in there.
would. Some
She might
would.
come back.
So sometimes, when you're trying to see different perspectives and you're asking questions, you're putting different ideas out there and trying to see like what's going to come back to you. You're always trying
Mm-hmm.
to figure out, like, am I right? Am I thinking? My thing to her is, you already know what you're thinking. You know, your heart is telling you, you're just not ready to receive what your heart is saying. My thing is, go what your heart is telling you. This behavior is repeating itself because
Mm-hmm.
this is the behavior that you're supporting. If you stop supporting it, that's like a kid in the candy store. If they freak out at the register and you give them the Snicker bar, then next thing you know, every time they go to the register, they're freaking out if you don't willingly give them and tell them no the first time. But if you just either, stop giving them the darn, candy bar, they're going to stop doing what they're doing. My thing is, if you're making yourself available for the constant, consistent hurt and pain, you can't be too upset when it's coming, because you already know his character is what it is, and he has already tied his souls with this other woman. So you are out of the you're out of the picture you're out of the picture long ago. And he has realized that I don't have to respect you, I don't have to cherish you. And all vows aside, he's going on with his life, and you got to be willing to do the same. You're gonna hurt and be heartbroken regardless. Just receive that and use it as a lesson learned. But I am going to give her some advice when once she heals, because I don't suggest getting into any relationship with anybody else in an unhealed state, because you'll just take that same thing to the next person. But I strongly discourage people from taking going to their next relationship and telling that person everything that they dealt with the last person, because it takes that next person, it takes your next person you're trying to get in a relationship with, and you've given them the roadmap on how much you're going to put up with before you stand up for yourself. So I always, even when you're dealing with people, kids, whatever, don't take your mess, share all that. It's not needed.
Y'all got a dim look on men. She could easily run into a better man. And so vent that man properly. I wouldn't tell her to jump back into no relationship right quickly. Matter of fact, she need to take off about 6 months, because to get past that. But at the same time, she could run into a man that would respect what she's been through and understand what she's been. It don't necessarily mean I'm gonna go and do what happened to her last time.
No,
because see,
I'm not saying that. That's where you're misquoting. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you're giving somebody the roadmap to what you are tolerant of, and it's parts of yourself that she needs to work on putting those parts of herself to death, understanding that I am more than a conqueror. I can do all things. I don't have to keep myself in these situations that are meant to harm you. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, don't go giving people the roadmap to figure out how much you're going to tolerate, because she did that already and it didn't work. She took that man back. She took him back. And hold on a second. She took him back in spite of him cheating the first time and being disrespectful and putting her in harm's way emotionally and mentally, because let's not talk about the mental scars that he left here in his wreckage. He did all of that, and then she took him back. So that was her lesson. Like, okay, so I did that. So he already knew that I can take it a bit further and she'll possibly take me back. The fact that for a whole year he came in and out of her house, eating food, getting clothes washed, kissing the kids, whatever with her, and back out the door again, that clearly shows you that she's really good at allowing people to draw the map for her life. And that's the behavior that she needs to interrupt, or she's going to find somebody. Her next person will most definitely, I can almost promise her next person will be somebody that has the same exact characteristics. I did a restorative circle just past week, and the quote that we used was the very thing that is causing you, the very thing that will cause you joy and peace is the very thing that you're running away from. So sometimes she's running away from the truth, the fact that this man is not dealing with her, he's gone. And instead of running towards the truth, she's going to run towards her happiness if she runs towards the truth. But definitely don't feed people information they don't need. It didn't work out. I don't even know why it's even appropriate to dwell on in a relationship and with a new person. Like, I don't know. I just think it's weird personally. Like, if I'm with somebody else, I'm going to spend all this time talking about who I was with. Like, I think it's this person. Just say, you know what? It didn't work out. We had two different perspectives, and we just decided that we were better off on our own and leave it alone.
Yeah,
but
because I agree 100%. You said that very well, because I've had that happen where you start telling your truths. And and when you said that so profoundly, because I started to wonder with my long-term relationship, why does he seem like he's doing some of the stuff the other? Well, see, I would open up and say, hey, so in my past relationship, this happened, whatever. And then later on in the relationship, stuff was either brought back up from what I told them, or, or something that hurt me the most in the last relationship was thrown in my face like, oh yeah, that's why this happened, you know. And it's like, okay, that's not why I shared that information with you. Sometimes you, like you said, Tanya, you're giving them the roadmap on how to, you know. And then I had things happen. Okay, well, if your ex did it
Well,
this
see,
way, I'm
that,
going to cheat this way because she might not have had this happen. Let me try it a different way because she's familiar with this way. I feel like I was giving them the roadmap on how to
Exactly.
play me, you know, instead of actually, you know, taking that in. Yeah, I always wondered, why am I sharing that?
see,
I
but
can
you
give you a
still,
little bit and
both of
say,
y'all
hey,
still
I
saying,
was hurt in
see,
my last relationship. I moved on. But you have some guys out here that think, and Luke, he's one of them that thinks that people need to give their everything. You need to sit down and put it out on the table when
exactly.
you're in a relationship with. I do not agree with that because I don't want to know everything you and your ex. It, to me, it's like, okay, y'all didn't work out. We
But
just
that's
didn't
because you're,
mesh.
you're that's because you're not a man. See, if you can't vent like a man vent. See, so again, your history and who you are as a person can tell me whether or not you're gonna stay with me. That's the whole thing. When if I marry you, I lose half if you leave me, and you can leave me just because you're not happy. So I need to know who you are as a person before I get any involved with you. Because again, I'm at the deficit. I'm gonna lose. Family court is not gonna side with me at no
So
point
I
in time. I've been there,
so
done that, seen that already.
I think that we got to go further to the beginning. Let's talk about this lady, right? So she's this is over. So the divorce
Mm-hmm.
papers are going to be signed, and she's still going to be heartbroken until she gives the time and her heart to God to mend it and make it new. And she goes into a new relationship. Before she's talking about anything, she needs to begin to learn herself. You know what I'm saying? She's got to begin to, why did I allow this to go on so long? What made me think when
Mhm.
hope was dead that it was alive?
Yeah.
What is my God given gift in the earth that I was not fulfilling? And that's why I wanted that man to fulfill it. What in the world about my children can I do? So before we're asking about anybody else, I think she needs to take the time to learn herself way better so that she'll make a better decision on who's going to align. Here's the other
But,
thing. Once she finds someone,
mm-hmm.
I believe at the end of you making a decision on who should be exclusive with you, you should have taken so much data on them, like surface data, that you can know if you can trust them with your past or not. Because if I marry somebody I can't tell my whole life to,
That's
I'm wondering if that's the person. Do I date somebody and tell them my whole life? No.
no.
But
Mm-mm.
I need to know who I
Wait a minute.
can at least give
Why don't
something to,
y'all see
because
it
this
as
is going to be my life partner. Say it again.
why why don't you see it as that woman being whole and she was right? What she was supposed to do, just picked the wrong man. That's how I see it. I don't see
Well,
anything wrong with her because she did what she was supposed to do. But at the
Yeah,
same time, the
agreed.
man didn't do what he was supposed to do. I can
agreed.
say that. That's what I'm saying. I don't see anything wrong with her. It was more man was wrong with the man.
I
So
don't know.
again, so now I'm
Yeah,
fixing
that's what we
something that
agreed.
was. I don't think she was broke. I just think she got the wrong man.
I
We
think that
So
agree.
all,
I said they
there's a
yeah,
probably
reason
weren't
though.
equally yoked. They probably
yeah,
weren't
but I
equally
think
yoked.
that you have to also, think about, like, if you're giving somebody all the sort of details of your past relationship, how does that benefit that person you're with?
Well, it benefits the man again because see how a man look at it. We look at it in a form of this right here. If let's say for this, women build a bond with sex, men build their bond with time. Okay, now see when I talk to women all the time, this is what we do. See that woman gonna tell you what she want. Once she done have more than 5 men, she know what she want. Now I get the woman coming to me and she'll say, "Look. He's a wonderful provider. He's a wonderful father. He does all these things. I'm just not happy. What you're not happy with? Okay, well, you know what? There's things I want that he can't give me. But you just said he provide, he take care of you. We're talking now. Let's talk intimacy because see, it's not hitting. I'm not getting what I want. So I would rather leave him and find me somebody else. See, now again, that's where I have to know your history. Because if I don't know your history, I'm bound to marry you. you're bound to stay with me. People can only act for so long. And after they realize it's not what they want, they're gone because you're reacting off your emotions. Where, like I said, most of the time a man will not leave. We could be totally unhappy and not leave. I got a friend that stayed with a woman 9 years and never had sex with her after that. She left him and went to another guy, and then he wanted to get him back, but he had moved on. He didn't go outside of her, not one time. And we were calling him crazy that he was sitting there not dealing with it. But he did it that way. So, like I said, I done seen both sides of it. You can lose big time by not knowing that person's history. But see, most of the time, like I said, I grew up in an era where women didn't want to have a whole bunch of people they had slept with because they that's not how that worked. And there was also a time where you got called out your name. This day and time, those labels ain't touched. So now we're open, and the feminist movement did happen. And it told you that if a man can go out here and sleep with 100 women, I could go out here and sleep with 100 men. And see,
So
you
is
still,
it more
I'm
so?
married.
So is it more
You can
so that you want to know how many people?
I'm who I married. You
Is
said
it
what
more
now?
so you want to know how many people she slept with, or you want to know what in and out of your past relationship, went wrong? It sounds like
Okay,
you're
but if
more
I
so wanting
told
to
you,
know about her sexual past, like how many people have you been with? It
but see,
sounds like
that's what we're
that.
saying. If we're saying to you now, see, if a man bonds with a woman, if a man is bonded to a woman, if he's been with that woman for more than 20 years, most men, when they come out of 20-year relationships, they don't jump back into no relationship. They do not jump back into it. A lot of men kill themselves after a long relationship. So again,
Unlife.
unlife.
That's a
Okay,
trigger
my bad.
word.
But I'm so used to saying what I say. But that's the key right there. But if I told you that every man that was in a relationship for over 20 years, he couldn't bond with you, you're gonna see the same thing. You're gonna say, well, you've been in a relationship for 20, so you telling me you was in a relationship for 20 years. Well, they say that men that been in a relationship for 20 years can't bond with me. So that's important now for me to know because see, that's telling me that he can't stay with me because he got a history. Now I can do the due diligence of talking to them and seeing where they are in it to see if they got past. Maybe they got a renewed look on life. That's different. But then I'm gonna ask questions around that too. But that's what I'm saying. But if they told you a man that been with a woman for more than 10 years is less likely to stay with you, and if you really want a relationship that lasts forever, you're not gonna be jumping in the quick in with that man and saying, okay, yeah, I'm gonna give you a try. It doesn't work like that. That's why men have to ask these questions because see, in family court, we don't win. And everything that we do when we make mistakes like that, we lose. So yeah, we're gonna be much more guarded because again, this is not how it works for us. It works that way for y'all, but it don't work that way for us. I was just
Hold on,
telling Sharonda earlier today. Go ahead.
Before we continue with that, hold that thought. I just want to give a shout out. We have we see somebody in the chat, everything 49ers, and post game reaction said Luke gonna meet his match tonight. Get him Tanya. And he looks like he replied again. I think it's the intent of it's so tiny. I think it's the intent of the use of that information the woman gives the man. So I guess he's saying maybe the man's using that information, that's his intent to use that information that
But
she's giving
that's
him about her
okay, but I'm
past.
still saying, yeah, but that's the wrong man. Because see, if you really get a man that's really into see, like right now, you were to give me that same woman, I'm fine with her. And that's without anything, because see, I know she is when it comes to that, she's not gonna get up and leave. I don't know about her cooking, like Tanya said, and how clean she keep her house, but I can clean my own house. But at this point in
Yeah.
time, if I know she gonna stay and I ain't gotta worry about her going nowhere else, I'm good. But that's what I'm saying. When I told you earlier that if I got 10 things I want. If I could get 8, I'm fine. I don't have to have 10. If I got 8, I'm gonna be fine with them.
Yeah, but like
And I
what
would
everything 49ers is saying, like as far as he thinks it's the intent of that information. Intention is so speculative and you can't foresee what someone's intentions are. So what I'm saying is, when I'm telling you not to, suggesting that you should not be giving somebody all the sordid details of everything, you knowing that somebody went and ran off with some other lady and they're having, unsafe, situations, and they're trying to form a family. How does that benefit you in a relationship with me? That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know I don't know how that benefits you. Like, I've never sat around and asked my husband about any sordid details or any details with anybody else before me. I do not want you even flashing back thinking about the chick that was before me, because I think that's inappropriate.
That's because you are a woman, though, and I understand that you are a woman.
Exactly. So we're dealing with the person who wrote this letter is a woman. So my advice is to her moving forward. I'm not thinking about the man because he's not thinking about her. I'm trying to give this sister some advice. Just worry about what you need to worry about moving forward, and don't give people a whole bunch of extra information. And I think the other thing that I was thinking about is, for her to move forward and be even just okay, she has to explore. Sharonda was saying, like, there's some questions that she needs to ask. But I think another question that she needs to ask herself is, at what point did I stop having self-compassion? Because I think a lot of what's going on is, if you don't have even the least bit of compassion for yourself, that you can't see the damage that's being done even on your children. She's known, if she's honest about some things, that she didn't find out about all this stuff when this man came home and told her. If she's honest about some things, because he cheated before, she already knows what the flags look like, and she's just moved them and tucked them in the closets and kept clean the house. She act like she didn't see it because she didn't want to see it. So think about, at what point did you stop having, compassion for yourself, and what are some things you got to do to get it back?
Yeah.
Agreed.
And then, and I agree with that 100%. And another thing that I would say to her, if she was in front of me, but I'll say it to her now if she's listening to this podcast. So basically, have time to heal yourself. That's so important. I think both of you, Sharonda and Tanya, said that you need time to heal. You need to dig into where you had a disconnect with yourself. And that's great. Everything that what it seems like to us, just from what we're grabbing from this letter, is you were a faithful wife and you stood by your husband's side. Okay, so don't change that part for the next person. So heal yourself, but still keep that part of you, because that right there aligns with the word of God. That right there is what makes you the wife that you're supposed to be. So I don't want it to be a thing where, because she went through this, now when she goes into the, everything's red flags, and okay, I'm not even going to do all these other things because look where it got me. That's why you have to have a complete healing before you go into, if you so choose to go into another relationship. You have to have that complete healing so that you're not taking that along with you, or the next person's not getting the full wife package because this guy, he left you broken. So make sure you're healed. That's important. And the sad part about this is, when you have this type of situation, because I know somebody mentioned earlier, I think it was Luke, like, what kind of advice would we be giving her? Would somebody be telling her to stay? And I think Tanya said, yes, some people would. Some people would tell her to stay, because you have the people that say, hey, you just keep doing what you're supposed to do as a wife, and let God handle that. He's not going to give you more than what you can bear. But that's where I'm saying, at what point is enough? Because even though he came home and told her all the things he's supposed to do, there's other people that will say, because this has been a debate that I know I've had, she's supposed to stay, and then they'll preference the women back in the day. Well, see, the women back in the day, their husbands was stepping outside of them, and they were having other kids, and the wife stayed. And I don't know how many of you saw the movie Fences with Denzel Washington.
Oh yeah.
Remember, he had that wife that she was a ride or die. He came home with that check. She made sure those bills, and then she gave him an allowance. She made sure that things were taken care of in the house and home. He went to work, but somewhere along the line, he got caught up in an affair, and he ended up making a child with another woman. And this woman still stayed by his side. And when men I have men that have said this in a debate where they said, well, see, you're supposed to be like the woman in Fences because she stayed. She didn't go nowhere. So that's where it's like, okay, they want you to have that mindset of stay. But like you said, yeah, the one in the chat, everything 49ers. Sometimes when you get into that relationship, they're taking that all in. Oh, what did you do before? Oh, I can take advantage of this one. That means I can have her along for a while. She's the woman that I want, but I
But
can go
you
out here
still
and
paint
have.
a picture of negative men. All men don't think that way. I don't
No,
think
we're
that
talking
way.
about that.
That's not how it works. See,
Mhm.
so what you're
But we're
planning on, you're saying I got a godly approach. My God said, if I worship and I praise and I keep my stuff, I'm going to get what I want out of this. I don't go with this, oh, I'm going to get another bad guy, because that's a mindset. And you will attract that. You're attracting those vibes. That's your vibe. You're going to pull that in. I don't believe in that. What I'm saying to you is, again, you'll keep saying, well, the next guy might be understanding of her situation. We're not all bad guys. We're not sitting around going, okay, well, yeah, that's telling me how to do you. Okay, I got you. Now I know what I can do. No, that's not what we're doing. That's still a bad man, no matter how you want to cut it. Now, would you want to say she need to pick a better man? I would say that. But at the same time, I'm not looking for every man, because, see, you can come home. I used to work at night, and I was dating this older lady. The older lady used to say, you know what, this is how it started. Heroes started coming in late at night. I work at night. See, crazy. But this is what we're talking about. You have to keep everything real with everybody. That's the whole thing. And so what we do is, most people want to keep secrets anyway. The secrets are the things that we have to take in. You got a man, and like I said, before she dated him, there was things that she probably saw that y'all call red flags. I call it, I'm not gonna mess with you for too long. That's what I call it. Because again, I see all of these things, and that's pushing me away. I'm not gonna sit here and say I can make it. I have a friend right now I work with. He got a boyfriend 6'4" with dreads. The dude don't got a job at a pie factory. She comes to work at 8 o'clock. She gets off at 4. He picks her up at 7. All her friends say he's fine, so she don't cut him off. See, I seen too much of this. It ain't got nothing to do with her. She's a fine person. But see, what she want, that's the poison. She picking the poison. All her friends keep telling her how fine he is. And so she keep holding on. See, I'm at this point as a man, see, that's it. We done. We done.
So you don't think that if that lady got deeper into who she was and her actual call, that she wouldn't be able to discern that her friends' voices the voice of God on who she should choose would matter? You're saying she's fine, but she's
But
staying with
no,
a man just because he's fine. To me, that's an internal flaw. We all got them. But what I'm saying, that's an internal flaw if you're staying with somebody who's picking you up 3 hours late from work and you're the only one working just because he's tall with dreads. That's an internal thing. She either doesn't think she can get somebody who can work, or she's settling for someone else just because he laid down, or she wants the clout from her friends. Whatever the issue is, that is something she needs to work on. I'm sorry. I cannot see that being, oh, she's
we're not arguing. I never said she didn't have to work on it, but I'm saying, okay, that's not enough to keep me there.
right. I agree.
If this is what you're giving me, if this the plate you're feeding me off of, I don't want none. That's what I'm saying. I don't care.
Agreed.
You can be super fine. You can be very fine. I still don't want you. I'm done. That's
Yeah.
I'm
I
walking
agree
away from that.
100%. And it's
All my
different when you're
friends
already
say,
in a marriage, though. It's
I'm
different
done.
when you're already in a marriage. And listen, you got some people that know how to finesse for a while. She might not have seen all that. I mean,
Yeah.
let's get it. Okay, you're sin free until you sin, right? So in the start of their relationship, we don't know how that was. We don't know how soon he put a ring on it and she became the wife. So with that being said, they might have still been learning each other. But yeah, you start to see different things. And like I said, the first time
No,
he
you
stepped outside of
gotta
her, hold
pick
on,
better
she gave
men.
him grace. Hold on, because I'm getting to a point, Luke. So with all that being said, okay, this is the point where I say to myself, you have so many men now, and it just like, okay, all the women today, oh, they're broken, they're this. But then you have this woman. You have plenty of women out here like this, okay, that will stay. And Luke, you just said yourself, look, I don't know if she could cook and clean like, Tanya said, or, if she's not good with the kids. But the fact of the matter, her staying would be a reason that I would be, which means, look, I know that if I mess up, she's still going to stay. Okay, that was the key thing that
But
you
see,
said, that
you
you
see
would
that
stay.
she said,
And
That
why
she could
I
be the dirtiest chick in the
What a
world,
difference
but you,
you said
explain to me
that.
why I got to mess up. Can you explain to me why I got to mess up?
I'm saying you said you would take her
See,
just
that's what I'm
because she
saying.
would stay
Now, you
if you
throw a
did mess up.
narrative in there that is not necessarily right, though. See, because everything that you're giving is negative. The narrative is
It's
I'm
not.
gonna mess up because she told me I this, so I'm gonna do it. See,
Well, no, you said that you
that's
would
not how it
stay,
works. That's not
and
how it
so,
works.
but see, this is my thing with that though, because we also had conversations outside of here where you promote that the woman should stay. And I know a lot of guys with this debate where they will say, and I know you've said a couple times, that if the man is the provider and if he's taking care of house and home, and if he steps outside of her every now and again, she shouldn't have a problem with that because he's still providing and taking care of his household. So this is
See
one of those situations,
that.
even though he came and
See
told
what
her
I just,
that,
ma'am, you misquoted everything I
Luke
said.
has said
What
that
I'm
plenty of
saying
times.
is, no, I didn't say from time to time he could step out. What I said was I wouldn't end my family because of that. That's what I said. I didn't say
But your
nothing
family
about
was
if they
already
stay,
ended when you
I
did it.
wouldn't end my family. No, it's
It
not
was
because see
already ended.
it's
The
not ended
family,
because
it
again,
has ended.
everything
Whenever there's a person involved in that relationship that is not intended to be in that relationship, there's no longer a relationship that's there. There's an illusion of a relationship, and that is quite different.
So let me ask you a question. So if God took that same approach with you, every time you made a mistake, I'm cutting you off.
He
See, that's
has.
not how we work.
He has.
That's
And
what we call
Right
that's
to
what we
their
call
mind.
grace.
So hold on a second. Hold on a
That's why
second.
we have grace.
Sometimes people
So
have.
the next time a woman lied to me in a relationship, I'm gonna go, okay, that's it. I'm out. You know that you
You
lied.
asked me
That's
a
a
question.
sin.
You asked me a question. I'm gonna respond to that.
Go ahead.
Sometimes people come to the table with the unrealistic characterization of God and Christ. Because the Christ that I know about, when people were sitting up in his temple in the holy place, the holiest of holy places, and they were selling stuff and gambling and doing all this stupid mess,
Yes,
he tore that place up.
he braided
I don't
that
serve
whip.
a God that's a slouch. I don't follow Christ that's a wimp. I don't have that kind of relationship. So I know that he gave me dominion and power over a whole lot of mess. So when somebody in my life steps out, there's been many years in my life where I'm not in my marriage, but in my life with people that that I care about, that's supposed to care about me, that I put up with some stuff that I never should have done. And I kept on enabling different behavior, enabling it, making excuses for it. And what happened is I lost myself at some point.
Yeah.
When I did the work like this woman needs to do to go and find myself, I started to reinvent the fact that, you know what, I gained self-compassion. And I know that by taking certain people back into my life and into my circle, that's an active act of self-harm. I don't get down with self-harm. And so when I changed my perspective on that, it literally changed my life. I don't attract people in my life anymore that have the same traits as the people that I had to push off to the side and give them straight to the God that I serve. But I don't. People get a lot of time they mischaracterize the character of God. But when you really dig down into that word, he has a very strong character. He don't have this wimp character that people say, oh, somebody smack you, turn the other cheek. Well, you tell them that when he tore them up and beat them with a whip, an animal whip, and tore the place up. Sometimes you got to kick that door in on different mess in your life and knock stuff down and put stuff out.
He was turning tables. He was turning tables.
Stuff. What?
He was the lion and the lamb.
Yes.
Exactly.
You have to equate him as a parent. You have to equate him as a parent. For people to say, "Oh, God's not going to punish me," whatever.
No,
and the thing about it is, he's a parent. He loves you. And what does he tell you to do? If you love your child, okay, how do you show your child love? You have to show them there's a consequence for your behavior. And if I don't do that, then you're going to just go out here recklessly. God has consequences for our behavior. He's not just sprinkling love on everything. He doesn't love everything because he can't touch sin. So if you're trapped in sin and you're repetitively doing the same thing like this man was doing, constantly having affairs in his marriage, there has to be a consequence. And no, that's not for hers, because vengeance is the Lord. That's not for her to touch. She's not to punish that man, but she doesn't have to stay with him, though. She doesn't have to stay with him.
And I think that she has to also look at it that, you know, weapons are going to form. So there's going to be stuff in her life that's going to happen, but it doesn't have to prosper. It's not designed to prosper. She's created to win if she's a child of God. And I think sometimes you have to look at it like this is an opportunity, because even when, all right, let me step back. Even when Job, you know, when the devil attacked Job, he had to get permission from the Most High God to attack Job. So I had to accept the fact that nobody's coming for me unless the God that I serve told them they can come do that. And if he told them to come do that to me, then he's already set me up with the tools and the defenses that I need to be a survivor and win, because that's what my purpose. I was created for that. So she needs to use this as an opportunity to see, you know what? I have to look at this opportunity for me to be able to clearer hear my God's voice. And she needs to also understand that not only sometimes does God knock you down to a place because you were disobedient at the beginning, which I'm not saying was the case, but sometimes I know God does show you some stuff long before things manifest. Because even with, you know, Lot's wife, he even told him, like, look, don't go do such and such because this is going to happen and people don't listen and there's consequences. So there's always something in the word that's a foreshadow to things that actually happen traumatic. But a lot of times with our selfish selves, we are so busy thinking about, I want to hold on to this person. There's kids involved here. Hold on. And there's kids involved here, all this other stuff. And we lose sight of, what does God have planned for me? What life does he have planned for me? What am I supposed to be doing? But she can use this as an opportunity, because sometimes he breaks you down so you are so distraught that you can't hear nothing but his voice. Because I'm telling you, when people come telling me, oh, Tanya, you need to pray for me, I'm going to say, yes, I'm going to pray for you. But I'm telling you right now, if it's a situation that I believe you need to be delivered from, my prayer is going to be this. Most High God, I come with my sister so-and-so in need of prayer. And I'm asking you to put her in a situation where she can't hear nothing but your voice and she can't see anything but your face. Make her will align with the will that you have, because your thoughts are higher than her thoughts and your ways are higher than her ways. Get her in alignment with you. So if you come asking me to pray with you and you start going through some stuff, just know, because he's trying to get your face to the floor so you can hear and see a little clearer. It's like a hearing aid check. And I just think that's in order at this point.
Agreed.
So let me get this straight now. Hosea had to marry a prostitute, right? Okay, see? So what if he did what you just did? What if he said what you just said? See? So that's what I'm saying. Y'all have an inflated mindset with Christ. Christ does a lot of things. Nobody said Christ is a punk, but I am saying that
you just
there are
said,
things that he'll put you through.
Hosea, what if he did? What if he did? Then what?
Because God had him.
If his mindset was like a woman, like you just said, he wouldn't have done it. It wouldn't even be a story, because he would say, that's not for me. See, my value is way more higher than a prostitute.
But you act like that doesn't happen in the world. You act like that doesn't happen in the world. Everybody in the world is not compliant.
Yeah.
Jonah wasn't compliant. His behind was running, trying to stay the heck away from Nineveh. So that's not
about
and look, Moses even had rebuttals.
Exactly.
Moses had rebuttals. Moses said, I am not fit for this. Moses had rebuttals. So
exactly.
But with Hosea, when you bring up Hosea, that was a test.
But see, that's what. So what if Hosea said? What if Hosea did like a woman and said, "I know my values. I don't want to be with a prostitute." See, that's what I'm saying. You
Then
can't
he
would
do
have
would.
that
been out of order,
you don't.
but
You're not understanding your role. That's what
yeah,
it
but
is.
Tanya wasn't saying be disobedient. She was actually
No.
saying make sure you can hear God. So if God is
Yeah.
saying to do something out of character, as long as you know that it is God, then it is all right. You see what I'm
No, but
saying?
you're saying,
She's
But it's
actually
not
saying,
saying
put me where I can
I said,
only hear you.
we have to apply grace. See, that's the same thing God told you to do with everybody. Jesus was telling you to apply grace. Jesus came here as an example of how you're supposed to live.
And grace
That's what
alone.
when we use that term. When we use that term Christ-like, that means to do what Christ would do.
True. But
what would Christ
there's
do in
even a
this
scripture
situation?
in the Bible,
He's
Luke,
not
that
doing that.
says, how long must I strive with you?
Yes.
How
Exactly.
long must I make sure that you keep going through the same things I'm trying to get you out of? So grace is definitely in order. And his grace definitely is sufficient.
But see,
But that does not mean you subject yourself to something he did not tell you to subject yourself to. That's all we're saying. Listen to God, let the discernment lead you. There is not one, it is not black and white, unfortunately.
That's what I'm saying to you
or
now.
fortunately.
Again, but see, only reason we do this right here, Hosea had the same mindset of what you just said. He could easily go with, you know what, my discernment says I shouldn't do this.
No,
My
discernment comes from
discernment,
God, not
You
his own thoughts.
misunderstood what she
unless
said.
I know,
We're talking about the
This is
discernment
how
of
that
the
works.
I know,
spirit.
but see, outside of
Well,
knowing, like I said,
you're
we
asking a question,
ain't
Luke,
talking, we're not talking to Jose today. I know
No, you
God
are
told
asking a
Jose to do that. But I know God
all right,
told
so you
Jose to
asked the
do that.
question, what if Hosea said, I'm not doing that, I'm not marrying no prostitute? Then Hosea could have done that. And if the Most High God felt like that you're going to do what I'm asking you to do, he would have put all kind of stuff in Hosea's trap until he doubled back like Jonah did.
And
Whether in
again,
the
and
belly
that's
of
what
the
I'm
Would have
saying to
chose
you now.
somebody else to be the
The
example.
Exactly.
woman
There's
that
been
you're
times-
talking,
there's been-
the
but there's
woman
been
that you're
times-
talking about,
hold on,
maybe
hold on,
God was doing that with her.
Luke, hold on,
Maybe.
I'm still responding to it. There have been times in the Bible where people have not done what God want them to do, and he went and found a prostitute and a donkey too to speak when he needed them to.
Right.
So he don't
Amen.
require us to be obedient all the time. Because he said, "I set before you this day a choice, blessings or curses." You think that he's expecting you to
I
listen all the
understand
time?
that.
No, he knows we're already at a stiff neck. That's not a shock to him.
I'm saying he could have said again, like you
Yeah,
said,
I'm
he
agreeing
could have
with
said,
you.
well, how do you know that woman wasn't going? That was God was doing that for her. How do you know that that's not what God was trying to get her to see?
It
See,
doesn't
that's what
matter.
I'm saying.
It doesn't
It
matter.
does
because
matter
He's gonna
because you just said, regardless of what she does, God's still gonna bring her through it. That's just
He's
how
going
it
to
is.
chastise her. He's
Okay,
going
that man that she just got rid of, the man that she got rid of, it could be another one come behind it because God ain't got through with her yet. That's what you're saying.
I'm not even sure what you said.
No,
What I'm saying
neither am
is
I.
no, because what I'm saying is if she's standing in the will of God, he's going to protect her. He doesn't guarantee you're behind any protection when you're outside of his will. That's what reprobate is for.
Yes.
So if you decide you want to step outside of it, hold on before you even do it. If you decide you want to step outside of his will, go on out there, bad boy. Go on out there.
Again, but that's what we're saying. You excluded. See what I hear is y'all done put everything on the man. Oh, you tell that man what you been through, and the man gonna then take it and use it against you.
How about we do
Wait
this?
a minute. Can I say something? Hold on a second.
We were created in God's image.
Let me put some
We were
seasoning
created
into
in God's
one
image.
microphone.
You're really personalizing. I mean, you can't. I think it feels like it's getting personal. My thing is,
Yeah.
hold on.
I don't want to get personal.
That's what I do is read behavior. So what I'm saying is, you have to step outside of this man and separate yourself from this man. Like you're looking at this situation from the mindset that you have. And unless your mindset is the same as this man's mindset, you have to step aside and say, you know what? Let's deal with just the facts. Because sometimes like my dad used to always tell us, well, I know he used to always tell me, your feelings don't mean anything. And I know it sounds like it sounds hard to tell your kids stuff like that, and it was hard to receive. But I remember And when I was younger, it didn't make sense. It sounded harsh. But as I started living and going through some things, I'm confiding in him about some things, and he would come back to and say, Tanya, you're in your feelings again. And sometimes you have to look at what the facts are. The facts are this man is doing X, Y, and Z, and he's trying to tell you what needs to be done. And she's not being obedient because she's not listening to what he's saying. So if she doesn't listen, she's going to be chastised. And if she feel like, like she's alone and desolate and all these different things, and she's broken and she's not feeling God's presence around her, then sometimes you got to admit the fact that you stepped outside of his presence to do what you wanted to do. And he's going to be waiting on the other side for you to come on back. And he'll receive it back.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because we're given free will at the end of the day. We're given free will at the end of the day. So when you bring up Hosea from the Bible, and we can bring up different stories from the Bible, but not everybody said yes to their assignment when God gave them an assignment.
That's not what I was saying.
Not everybody said yes. Hold on, Luke.
What I was addressing,
Luke, one microphone. Like I'm being
again,
respectful.
but that's not what I see. What I'm saying is y'all are off the rail. That's not what I was talking about. See, I hear what you're saying, but y'all way off the rail.
But earlier you said that the man, you could see where the man did not do what he was supposed to do, and now you just turned the table and said everybody's blaming the man.
She was saying, I was talking about. She said she was venting. I said I'm gonna give you grace. I don't go into this thing and say, well, I'm just gonna nullify whatever you said and whatever's done. That's the point. I said the man was wrong if that's what he did, but I also said there's two sides to every story. I don't go with just one side. As a therapist, you listen to everybody, and that way you understand what the full picture is. I can't go into anything and say, well, I'm going to take this person's side. That's in the court of law. We got two sides. That's why you got a lawyer and they got a lawyer, because you got to hear both sides. But at the same time, I don't know what she was doing. But what I'm saying to y'all is this. She said, well, that man, that's why you told there. She said that woman had to know her value, that she shouldn't be out there putting herself in that situation. I'm saying that man, Hosea, could have said the same thing. But yeah, I understand God still would have brought him through it. But what if Hosea used that same terminology? I know my value. I don't want a prostitute.
Then good, don't marry the prostitute. And then if that's God's will, and Hosea, like I said, and Hosea is outside of the will of God, then Hosea gonna catch it. That's just what it is.
Go ahead.
I'm agreeing with you. If you ask, what if he said I'm not wearing a prostitute? Then don't marry the prostitute. God he don't just wait on just Hosea to do something. Listen, he'll raise up anything, even a donkey. We've seen that.
Again, but what we just said, see, there was an order in which God created all of us. And see, some of us are out of line with that order, because we come into we have a feminist movement that come on and that says you're equal. And so we always got that right there too. But I posted something up on the screen. Take a look at it. Tell me what you think.
It's small, Luke. It's small.
It says the age woman likewise. Go ahead. Me read it or you read it?
Go ahead. You got it.
It says the age women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers of a home, good, obedient to their own husbands, and the word of God be not blasphemed. Oh, I agree with that.
See?
I agree with that.
I agree too.
Hold on. So I agree with that wholeheartedly. But I think what's missing is a lot of times when women get into these different relationships with men, they're not given, like there was sometimes a lot of situations, there wasn't this woman that you just posted about in these scriptures that is teaching them good things. Like I know I have lots of conversation, and people may, young ones may ask me different questions about and perspective. The first thing I always tell them is don't take any advice from anybody who has like, say if you desire marriage, don't take any advice from anybody who has not been married much longer than yourself. Because I know even before I got married, we had marriage counseling before the marriage as a prerequisite to the minister doing the service.
Yes.
And so that was one of the things we discussed early on, even like child rearing and all these different things. We would have known from the questions that was posed in those therapy sessions that we were definitely unequally yoked if that was the case.
Wow.
And believe you me, I walked into there with the mindset, like, God, show me if this is the person that I'm supposed to be with, because I was always keeping it open. Like, I'm looking for my answers from God, because being in the younger ones in the family, you start looking at what works for different people and how do things work for yourself. And I was literally terrified of being in a relationship with somebody who didn't have good intentions for me, to the point that I even told my husband, like before we were even married, like, I really like you, but I need to take you to meet my parents first, because my parents' discernment was something. And if they said no or send it back where it came from or anything along those lines, and you didn't listen, you came back with all kind of situations, and it just wasn't worth it. So sometimes you have to look at a situation and be honest with yourself.
About your husband.
Hold on.
Y'all make terrible decisions.
And make sure, oh hush, and just make sure that you're teaching these young women good things.
But see, that's the thing today, and so that's one of the things today. The older women today think they're the younger women. See, the next post. You want to read that, Shay?
If I could see, like I said, on my end is too. Okay, I can read.
It says too many of y'all want a person that's financially rich but spiritually broke. Look beyond the exterior. I 100% agree with this. I'm gonna tell you why. Because a lot of people think that, you hear a lot of these girls say, "Oh, I want somebody who makes $100,000 a year." But sweetie, you don't make $100,000 a year. I want somebody who's riding in this kind of car, but you got a bus pass. So my thing is, give me somebody who got a bus pass or don't have a car or everything else if I don't have it. You know what I mean? My thing is, I need to know, does this person have potential? And what in their life have they done so far that shows that they have potential? Like, I don't have no intention on being stressed out my entire life. I don't do well with stress. So I have to manage certain things in my life. And you have to make sure that you're not setting yourself up for failure.
Exactly. And that's all I'm saying now. You have to properly vet the people that you want to date. You can't go in here and just do and pick anybody. But if you're going into it with the mindset that all men are bad, that, I'm gonna take this and use it this way. Like I said, I grew up with a mother.
I'm just curious, is that the message that you heard from the three of us? Because none of us ever insinuated. And honestly, we never even said this man.
Okay, so let me ask you.
Behavior was.
Let me ask you a question. If I told you a man shouldn't tell a woman his past, let's say, for instance, he was, let's say, a serial unliver. Okay,
that's not what I said. That's not what I said. What I said was, I don't think a woman needs to move to her, or a man move to their next relationship, telling that next person all the sordid details of their past relationship. What I said was, it is disrespectful in a sense, because, well, first of all, why the earth would you, as a new person, want your
okay, but person, hold on.
Wait, let her finish.
Why would you want the person that you're trying to be with and build a relationship or a family or in a future with? Why would you want them dwelling on the past? Because they're not just going to think about the pain. That mind's going to do what the mind does, especially if the enemy gets involved, which they always get involved. They're going to start thinking about intimate moments with this person. Stuff. So I don't care to hear about anybody my husband was with prior to me. He's never asking me no stupid questions neither. What I'm saying is, how is that going to help us right now? Do you intend on cheating on me and trying to make a baby with somebody else and all this and that? If that's not your intention, why you need all that? All you need to know is, dude had some serious priority issues that I didn't quite agree with, didn't line up with my spirit, caused me lots of stress. And I decided I need to save myself and my children, and I need to move on. That's all she needs to be concerned. Miss, please make sure you listen to us as far as what you need to do next in your life. Because as a woman, you have to build a certain amount of grit in everything, not just your relationships, but I think most definitely build a relationship with yourself first.
Yes. And again, with that, that's the best advice. And she has to make sure she gets that total.
Vet your men before you marry them, because see, I'm sure there were plenty of red flags with that particular man. See, Because I've seen too many women who knew the man was wrong and still stayed on the course. That's why I
Exactly.
gave you the example of the young lady that if she telling you, your friend telling you he fine, okay, and he don't got a job at a pie factory and he picking you up at 7 o'clock. See, that's red flags. We ain't gonna play with red flags. Men don't play with red flags. Once you see them, we gone. That's not gonna work with us. That doesn't set. If I got a girlfriend and she can't come in after, she only coming in after 2 o'clock, I'm not gonna pursue her any longer. I'm moving on. It's time to move on. We're not gonna stay here with you. Y'all, that's what you're not saying. Because this lady had to see red flags if the man was doing all of this and he was doing it from the beginning and he was cheating and coming back.
Yeah.
There had to be red flags prior to that.
He knew.
Yeah. Data.
And
that's what dating is. Dating is about collecting data. That's really all it is.
That's what it is. I think, but you know what, Sharon, I think you got a point there, because I think in today, like years ago, there was something called courting, where you hung out with the person, or you went skating, or you went to, dinner, or you went to this. It's like everybody just hits the gas, and they treat these boyfriend and girlfriends like their spouse. And so they don't understand like that whole courting period and dating period. That's the whole, that's the dating process right there. And if you're not giving yourself time to and that's the reason why they tell all their business from the start, because they have no intention. They're hitting the gas. They have no intention on courting this person. That's why they tell a whole story and all of that. And then let's go. Let's see. Well, doggone, you just taught that person to be dishonest.
But that's the thing, though. It's one of the things
they're
I
between
do.
the sheets before they even meet the parents, basically.
That's what I'm saying. But one of the things I do, I don't date a woman. I date the woman, but the woman has to be real to me. I'm not going to see you before that. Women will tell you right off.
I'm just saying,
when we going out. When we going out. When we going to do this. When we going to do that. Women will do that. Right.
Everybody's on
stage
and an actor in a play while they're dating people. They're not being because the whole goal of dating is to enter the relation that you desire. So even the minister who did our counsel, he made it very clear, like the person that you're sitting here with is an actor and an actress, and they're going to go through all these different things and scenarios and all this stuff. But that's the reason why people need to slow down and get a chance to know who you are and love yourself, so that when people come in mistreating you, number one, it hits you real fast, and number two, you put up boundaries, because apparently at some point she stopped putting up boundaries and started being acceptance of bad behavior, and that's the reason why it continued and continued and continued.
Right.
At any given time,
I don't see it that way.
You don't.
I don't see it that way. I see her actually doing it the right way. She got involved with the wrong man. I come to me all the time and say, I clean, I do this, I took care of that. I could do all of that. But the man still left because that man didn't want you. That's the bottom line. He did not want you. And so that's the thing. That's why you have to take the time to get to know the person. I tell people now, when I date, I'm single. I tell them now, I want to meet you till you're real to me, where I can see past the sex. I want to see you, because now I'm going to be respecting you. I'm not going to be respecting because I'm here, because in the past, we always went to the women because we were trying to have sex. So we're going to give you all the games. So I would rather you be real to me, so I don't just see you as a sexual object. I'm seeing you as a woman. And see, that's what I'm saying here. Most women on even dating sites now will tell you, okay, let's get together. When? Tomorrow. See?
Well,
now that man already
got that's the issue. If I'm not saying, I'm not knocking anybody that's on a dating site, but just to touch on that, that's because you have a lot of women out here who aren't actually looking for men. They're looking for a meal. There's women, and I have to look, I got to tell truths now. I have that knowledge that there's women, because I've heard guys say, there's women that in their phone, they have different men's name for each day of the week. And it'll be for, okay, this day, he's my meal. He's my meal. They just want to go out and go on these dates and reap the benefits of the dates, but they have no intentions. And I'm not saying all women are on there doing that, but that's what's going on too.
That doesn't work with a real man. That's what I'm trying to tell you now.
People need to just talk on the phone and get to know each other. Nobody needs to be, maybe go.
That's not going to work with a real man. That's not gonna work with a real
What?
man.
Not
That's what
talking
I'm
on the
saying.
phone doesn't work? Talking on the phone doesn't
No,
work, you're saying?
we talking about using you as a male. I went to college too. I know girls that used to use men for food. I
They
done
do
seen
it.
that game before. That's the point. I went to college and I seen girls use when they got hungry when that food ration ran out. Okay, now we gonna hit you up. That dude that you not interested in. See, you can't do that with a real man because the real man knows these things. I'm already equipped to these things. That's the
Yeah,
I
whole
so
don't
thing.
think
that's
this, I don't think this has anything to do
You
with
can't
being a
put
real
that banana in my tailpipe.
I think this woman's problem started long before this man and the man before that, and probably the
I
woman
don't
for
think
that.
she got
I
problems.
do. Let
She
me tell
just
you
with
why.
the wrong man.
Because in order for you to allow yourself to be in a relationship, that trauma, because I'm gonna tell you, trauma has a voice.
Yeah, it
That
does.
trauma, hold on. That trauma that she's dealt with early on in her life has caused her to be such a people pleaser that she'll set aside her own happiness and engage herself in harmful behaviors to herself in order to maintain relationships because there was lacking somewhere else. So those poor choices and stuff that came from relationships and trauma from long before.
Okay.
If she's honest with herself, it did, and it's just manifesting in different places. So and hold on. So people who are the ones that like to take advantage of other people, they know that. And the minute you start telling people all this other stuff, they automatically know, you know what, this is the person that I want, and this is the space that she's going to have in my life. That's why if you want to move on, move forward.
Okay, but let's say this. Since you said that, Tanya, let's say she would have met the right man. Would she still need help? If she met the right man, would she still be broke?
Yes.
Can I
No, she
interject
wouldn't.
real
Go
quick?
ahead, Sean,
Because
to get him.
I
No,
think
she
you
wouldn't.
gotta marry both of those ideas. When
Mm-hmm.
you know yourself, you heal, you understand yourself, then you
Part.
align with the right person. But if
But
you
there was
don't know it,
nothing wrong
you're
with
going
her.
to bring people into your life and then choose the wrong one. See what I'm saying? You got to do both. You can't just say, I got things that will allow me to not have boundaries or accept things that will harm me, but I don't need to know myself. You got to have that.
Exactly.
If
But
she
then when
would
you
have picked,
do, you
if she would
attract people who see that value and have the
see, but that's what
same.
I'm saying. I think y'all overrate these things and put too much into them because as a people that came from slavery that dealt with a lot of mental issues, and like I said, somebody taking your child, selling them today, and telling you to be out there in that field at 5 o'clock tomorrow is entirely different. So those people, but we're still here, y'all. That's the point. So with that being said, if she would have got a man that respected her, she is not broke. Y'all keep saying she broke.
I
She got
agree,
a
but
man
the
that
reason
respected
why
her.
that
No,
man didn't
that is so wrong
disappear.
because what happens is if that woman is broken and takes herself into another relationship, that
Yes.
I don't
man,
where she
hold on, that good man is going to pay for that because
yeah.
that's how
Yeah.
a woman messes up a good man
Yeah.
because she's been broken at some
if,
place
Hmm.
before you even do it.
right.
If she's been broken and hurt at some point and she goes on to that next person unhealed, she's
Hmm.
going to destroy that man that's a good
Yeah.
Sure it
man.
is.
Hold on. She's going to hold him accountable for everything that the past hurts have done because
That other
everything,
guy.
if his phone rang and he just shut it off and just set it back down, he might just be trying to value his time with her and respect the time with her. But what
But
she's seeing is
Tanya,
that's some
you said
Somebody's
that
on the
after
other
the fact.
end.
exactly. So yes, if you're unhealed, that's like taking a all right. So I have a
You're
little dog.
talking.
Hold on. I have a little dog, and I walk him down the street, and he poop in the street, and I get in the bag and put it in the bag. If I take that bag and set it in the corner in my house, it's gonna smell. If I spray a little, odor, something going on,
Breeze.
anything,
Breeze.
if whatever kind you like, whatever kind gets the smell out for you. If you spray a little bit of that, it's still gonna
Breeze.
once that that whole dating scene goes away and they become really serious about each other, and that mess is still in the corner. Guess it's gonna do? It's gonna stink, and
It's
that's
not
why I
me.
always tell people
I hear
do
you.
not bleed on the people who didn't cut you. If she didn't
Right.
get a real band-aid and then let herself heal and give
Yeah.
herself time, she's gonna bring her brokenness to the next relationship.
And it's
That
gonna be a
man, that man
cycle.
that's doing all of this,
But
he also, hold on, he also is somebody that's involving himself with a woman and now another woman. And that man, if he goes back, he was in a broken place and still is, and never was
Yes.
delivered from that broken place, and he's
Yeah.
operating. So you have broken people engaged
Getting
with
together.
broken people, and you're surprised there's a difference.
And they're
Yes.
getting together, and
no,
this is
but
just a cycle that's repeating itself. Yeah.
And the Bible
no, but
says,
see what
the
Tanya.
Bible says that you love
Right.
your neighbor as you love yourself.
Yourself.
So you can't fully love somebody the way God wants you to love them if you don't love yourself first.
Exactly.
So even if
But
that man was
did y'all hear?
amazing,
Did y'all hear the
she's
question?
gonna be
Did,
yeah, you
did y'all hear the
said
question?
yes.
What was the question? What did I say? Go ahead, say it.
If she
I don't
met
know,
a
'cause you were
good
talking.
man, would she still have been broke?
No, I said
Would
that
she
she would
still
have
be
met
broke?
a good man before she met that man. If she,
Mhm.
if that man was a
You
good
didn't
man,
say that,
would
boy.
she be
He
broke?
didn't say that. He
You
didn't
just
say
was that. You
that.
just you did a whole 360 there. You said if she met a
No,
if she
I
met
said,
a
if
she
she
still
would have
need
met
help.
instead
Yeah,
of
she
that
needs some
man,
help.
if she would have married the right man, would she be broke? That's why I said it, because that's why it made sense. Because see,
And
what y'all
she
saying is,
answered that
I'm saying
question.
Answer that.
I
She
originally
answered
said
that.
she was
She
doing it
said
right.
yes, she still
No,
would be broke because she
nothing
didn't
was
love
wrong with her.
herself. She was going into that. Okay,
That
if
ain't
she
what the
met
problem is.
He's
The point
exhausted.
I'm saying now is, I'm saying she was all right. There was nothing wrong with her. If she would
Yeah,
have
it
got the
was.
right
yeah,
man,
it's
there would have
Oh,
been
something's
nothing
wrong.
wrong with her.
No, something's
it's
wrong.
you know,
No,
something is wrong.
ain't nothing
Okay,
wrong. If
she's
she
a
would have been
people
the wife that
pleaser. That's
man
what
needed.
So hold on, one microphone. So
Mhm.
what I heard, Tanya, I'm gonna combine it. So again, we like making soup every night. We're gonna pour some seasoning in this now. So we're gonna stir this up. So what I heard Tanya say, basically this woman, okay, even if she met the good man, okay, she seemed like, just from seeing all the tolerance the stuff that she was just in her little letter, the snippet of this, she's a people pleaser. So when she has that mindset, she's looking, and that's not to say you're not supposed to love on like you said, Sharonda.
Can
You
I ask
love
the
your
question?
neighbor like as
What
if
man? What man?
but you're cutting me
What man
off.
don't? Well,
But
no,
this
but
is
what
where
man don't want a people pleaser? What kind of nonsense is that? We're not
listen to
women.
what, but
If that
you're
woman
cutting me
job
off,
is she
and I
trying to
have a
please me,
point.
I'm good. That's the
I
point I'm
sat here
making.
and whoa. I sat here and I listened to the three of you, and I'm taking it in. Now I'm mixing up this soup, but you can't cut me off because I'm
You
going to lose
can't
my
mix up
train
the
of
soup
You
thought.
if
gotta
you're
taste
wrong.
it.
That's
You
what
gotta
I'm
taste
saying.
it. Come on
See,
now.
When you
and
Let's
so
mixing
the
up the
thing
wrong soup.
with her being a people pleaser, and I know you would like to have a people pleaser, but if at what cost for her own,
That's crazy.
mental
That's right up
state,
my
for her,
alley.
at what cost for
stand
her own,
down.
you can please all the people that you want, but if you don't love yourself,
You're
you're
not.
just walking zombie, pleasing everybody else. And what she was
Again,
doing in this
y'all
relationship,
still saying
she
the
was so
same
busy
thing.
pleasing her
The point
husband.
I'm
He was
making,
pleasing that woman for 1 year. Okay, she was so busy pleasing him that she was letting these
this
red
has
flags
nothing.
fly. And so he
That
was
has nothing
pleasing
to
that
do with what
woman
I just
for a
said.
year outside of their marriage. Okay, so what Tanya was saying is she would just take that on to the other guy. And with the other guy, the good guy, he's going to
The
have to reap
point
all
I'm
that stuff
making,
that she had
the
from her past
woman.
relationship. And you're going to have a
Okay, what
repeated
I'm saying is,
cycle.
the
And the same
woman
woman
was a
that he's
people
climbing
pleaser,
on
as
for
you
a year
said.
up the street, he's taking that to her. Now you just got all these people
We got
that's just
to
mixing
get
this
more men on
together,
this show.
and you're going to just have these people. That's what you're
No,
getting.
you got enough voice because that would just be too much. You would never get a chance to speak if you get one that does a lot of listening. Because I think
Yes.
What? Did you hear that long-winded answer? I've been sitting
well,
here
you
listening the whole time. The
sometimes
point I was making was before that woman got with
yeah,
that man that y'all call a bad man. If she would have got with the right
no,
man,
that's what
there
you
was
heard.
nothing broke in her.
Nobody called that brother a bad
That's the
man. No
point I
one
was
did it.
making.
That's what you felt. See, that the facts didn't tell you that. Your feelings did. That's why I was saying your feelings don't mean much. The
Yeah.
fact
No, y'all are saying she broke because of what the man did. I'm saying
no, I
she
didn't
was
say
not
that.
broke.
That's not what I
And
said.
if she got the right man from the beginning,
So that's
she would
what
have been
you heard.
fine.
That's what you heard, but that's not what none of us said. What we said is this lady is hurt because she's broken because of some of the things that she allowed to happen to herself.
She's not broken
Not
by my
just with him.
standards. See, she's broken
Listen,
by y'all standards.
So
Well,
here's
unless you want to
here's my
emphasize
question.
for the woman. Go ahead, Sharonda. Bring this one home so we can go to bed.
Yes,
So
I need that birthday cake with
no,
my
I
twins.
just have a
Hold on,
question.
shout out to my twins, Travis and Trevor. I just
Happy
want to say that's
birthday!
probably
Happy
still
birthday.
up. Happy 17th birthday to my twin boys, Travis and Trevor.
Happy
Baby
birthday.
17. Happy
Okay,
birthday.
Sharonda, sorry about
Go
Wow.
ahead,
that.
Sharonda.
Oh no, that's
Happy
all
birthday.
good. My question is, so Luke, are you asking us, like when this young lady was being raised, if she was introduced to great men, excuse me, and before she ever got into a
No,
relationship, if she was introduced to a great man, would she be unbroken? Is that what you're asking?
no, that's not what I'm asking.
That's what you
Oh, then
said.
I
See,
still agree with
That's
what
just
everybody
what I
else said.
said,
I just think you need to.
what I said was,
Luke. I think that once we stop this conversation for the night, I think you need to go back and just really listen for what the three of us were saying. And I think if you just sit back and listen to what we're saying, like just critically listen, I think that you will
I'm,
understand and agree with what we're saying because we're not passing judgment on him at all. Honestly, I don't care much about what he's up to. What I'm saying is this sister has time, space, and opportunity to
I don't
preserve.
think you heard the question. That's what I'm saying. See, y'all answering a question that wasn't answered. That's what I was trying to stop
That's
it.
because you
The
keep
point
changing the
I was
question
saying,
every time you present it
I'm
again.
not
It
changing
changes.
nothing.
You
I'm not changing nothing. Y'all have put this lady in brokenness. I'm saying that if she
hell,
would have
she put
met the
herself
right
in
man,
brokenness. She did.
no, she didn't. If she would have met the right man, I'm saying
She
before
did.
she
That's
ever met the man that she with now, if she would have married another man that worshiped and took care of her, a godly man, you wouldn't be talking about none of the broke because she would be giving that godly man exactly what he wants. That she was not broke. Y'all keep talking about she was broke. If you got a woman that's going to please you, and I'm a good man, then I'm fine with everything she does. That's the whole thing. And I know she's a ride or die because she ain't going to get up and go.
we
That's
all
the
agree with
point.
you right now.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. If he's a godly man, and
And
he's
that's
not,
the point.
this guy's
I'm
not
saying
displaying that he was a
y'all,
godly man.
y'all only saying the woman is broke because the woman had a bad experience with a bad man. She picked the wrong man. I don't see her as broke. I think the right man would have picked that up and done right by it. She would have been fine. That's what I'm saying.
I agree
She
with you.
picked the wrong
I do
man.
agree with you. I agree with you in the sense that sometimes some of us have a hard time seeing brokenness in other people, and it's based on in our perspectives are based on our own experiences and how we see the world. So I agree with that's how you see this whole situation because that's how you're looking at the situation based on your own experiences. But just to try to bring this
I
home
don't base
because
it off my
I am
experience.
a woman, I'm
I
about to go
base it
hang
off of 23 years. I base it off of 32 years of talking to women.
Yeah, but it
Okay.
also matters
See,
which
that's
one.
the problem then. If
I
it was
think that
all women that you talked to,
yeah,
I
that's
would.
what I'm saying. It also depends too. But in order to
Yeah.
keep this conversation, we're already hitting 2 hours,
Yeah,
and I'm about to go
yeah.
hang out with the husband
Yeah.
that I like a whole lot.
That's
So
right. Keep him, girl.
exactly. I just think that, just going back and just thinking about, I want this lady to go and if she need to listen to this podcast 2 or 3 times, but just take notes and just pull out some things and pray on it. The Most High is going to tell you exactly what's for you, and he's going to tell you what's not for you. Don't take my word for anything. What works for me may not work for everybody, but I don't give advice thinking anybody's going to take it, benefit from it, or anything else. All I know is I can tell you what works for me. If I was in that situation, this is how I be moving. And even though I haven't dealt with a situation like that, I tend to look at any problems in a solution-based manner. So I think this is beyond the fact of, a bunch of blame. Nobody needs to blame anybody. But I think when any situation you come to and through in life, just keep an open mind about it. And then try to figure out after you seek God first, start thinking about your own truth and your own reality and set up boundaries. I
Yeah.
appreciate y'all having me tonight.
I appreciate you coming
No,
on.
you gotta come back. No, don't try to
Yeah, I
run. You
appreciate
gotta
you
come
coming
back
on.
now.
Sharonda, do you have anything you like to stir into this pot before
I
we?
just want to say that to First of all, this has been amazing. Thank y'all for having me on.
Oh,
But to
thank you
the
so
young
much for coming on.
lady who wrote the letter, when we're saying that there's brokenness, we're not judging you, honey. We have all been in a situation where it didn't go our way, and we may have made choices that were not favorable. So, no, you're not broken as though something's wrong. We are saying that we believe that there's more for you. That's all we're saying. And go for the more by seeking God and seeking to know yourself a whole lot more better. And I appreciate your ability to stick by someone, because that's a backbone that all of us don't have. But somewhat to Luke's
Amen.
point, when you
Let the church
choose a
say
better
amen.
man, you'll be able to gain the benefit of
Let
what you've already
the
sown
church
out there. God's got you.
say
We love.
amen. Let the
We,
church say
Yeah, it's
amen.
take back
we
that
are
up.
appreciating.
So
I'm definitely gonna be praying for you.
I appreciate that, Sharonda. And just for me,
Uh,
I would like to
lady that
say,
wrote the letter, pick better men. There are great men out here just
it
like
wasn't
this one
Please
Sharonda.
you
don't
can
take any
get.
advice from
And
that
you
one.
ain't broke. You ain't broke at all.
Oh,
You ain't broke. There's nothing wrong with you. Just find the right man. He'll take care of you.
Brokenness
okay.
is not bad. Brokenness
That's
is a beginning of healing. Because if you can't,
Yes.
a broken
Yes,
arm
ma'am.
has to be broken before it's healed. So don't think that brokenness is a bad thing. The best things in my life
she
came
is.
out of times when I was broken. So go
And you
ahead and
know
be
something,
broken and be healed. In that
and I'll
order.
just, and I'm gonna close it,
If that's the
and
case,
I'm gonna
Thank
say,
you,
we all
TJ.
broke.
with that being said, broken, okay, because after all this, how can we not be, at the end of the day? So, that doesn't mean, and I'm not even saying, and the thought of being broken right now, it feels like everything is just crashing on you. I can imagine. I've been in a situation that was similar. So I know it just feels like the walls are closing in on you, but don't turn away from God. Call on the Most High, okay? Because this is just a test. We are put in different tests so that He can make us stronger, and we can come out to be great. And in this moment, just pray, just focus, just work on yourself. And I'm sorry that happened. I'm sorry that your child is stressing and your household is now in disarray. But don't turn away from God. Keep your faith. And I do appreciate you reaching out to Luke and Shay's show, our podcast. And I hope that we gave you valuable advice that you can take. And again, as Tanya suggested, if you have to look at this podcast a few times, just to get understanding. But my prayers will go up to you. I will definitely answer that request for prayer for you. And I just pray for the best for you and your child. And Luke, do you have anything else to say? And I also want to say, we have a saying here at Luke and Shay's podcast, is a positive mentality is a destined reality. Your mental health is important. So at the end of the day, definitely want to make sure that you're taking care and working on you. Love on yourself some, and just stay positive. Is that it? Is that a
Pick
wrap?
better men. Yeah, pick better men. There's a whole bunch of good out there.
And it's important you hear those voices.